land.
Sure, that's what we'll call this.
That's what we'll call it.
It's so much weirder than tea. It would take so long to explain the way in which this is not tea, and we're not going to dwell on that.
No? Okay. Well, then, for anybody who sees this little ephemeral piece of content streamed to the web, that means you're watching a VOD or video after the fact. Welcome to Lies You'll Enjoy, a little corner of the internet where, quote unquote, every Monday, we come here and we tell fanciful lies, pretending to be people we are not in places that don't exist, doing things we would never do. And we hope you enjoy our penchant for lying. Amanda is going to join us soon, but for the time being, me and Kurt are going to hang out. Kurt, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. For those of you who aren't in the loop, and why would you be? We don't talk. I mean, some of us do. I have been out of the continent. I have been in England. There's a certain irony in that I was about 90 minutes from the largest game expo in the UK, at which my games were available to purchase.
Whoa,
but
cool.
I did not go to that. I decided that in around March. I was like, I'm not going to do it. I've decided. And then, and then each day that passed, there seemed to be a new small reason why I might wish to do it. Not a large enough reason that I should do it, but just like one more thing, like, oh, maybe you should go after all. Maybe you should go after all. I talked to the people who sell my games in the UK, and they were like, oh, yeah, you should come. People love when you're not from the place that you're in. They'll want to talk about your games. And I'm like, okay, no, but that's really sweet, but I did already decide. And then I was talking to somebody else, and they were like, oh, we'd finally be able to meet. And I was like, yes. But I've already decided I'm not going to do it, so I won't do it. And then, what is the public clearance for the next story?
Oh,
Essentially, I've been speaking with someone in Europe about a translated version of one of my games, and I learned that they were like, oh, but we'll be away from communicating for the next few days because we'll be at UK Games Expo. And I was like, God damn it. Now I've done it. Now I've really done it.
everybody would have been there, Kurt.
Finally, the reason that I decided not to go is because I was spending time with family. I've got family in the UK, including a sweet 2-year-old relative who I got to spend some very quality time with. But I learned after the Game Expo that one of these 3 family members I was visiting was like, oh, well, it'd be nice to head up to UK Games Expo with Kurt. That would be fun. The
No.
person who I was specifically not going to UK Games Expo to spend time with was like, well, would have been cool though. So, long story short, I don't know, use your human words and talk to people about your plans. But also, I had a lovely time in the UK, and they did sell out of the main of my games. So, what would me being there have done anyway? Just made them have less of them faster.
Is that sock puppets that sold out, or?
It is Sock Puppets that sold out, yes.
That's cool. That's cool.
That's the one that is selling, it seems. It's doing the selling things.
Yay, that's awesome. I was thinking about the name of that game the other day because, essentially it doesn't have to be about sock puppets, right? It could be technically about any sort of puppet. But I was thinking, I think you were brilliant to call it sock puppets because, it's just very real. You're just like, I like sock puppets. Oftentimes it will be sock puppets, and then boom, it happens. I don't know. It just seems like the right branding choice.
It's funny you say that because I wrote a huge thread while we were offline about why all my names for all my games are bad. And Sock Puppets has its own problems. First of all, I'll tell you why it's a good name. It's also a pun. It's a pun on the fact that the puppeteers are using, you know what a sock puppet is, right? It's like a fake persona that you're using to advance your own cause. I mean, that's what they're doing. The puppeteers all have their creepy little causes and they're trying to advance them. By the way, if you're joining us at this point, we will play a game eventually soon. We are waiting for our friend Amanda. And if you're watching the VOD in the future, feel free to skip ahead until there are 3 of us because the game don't start till she walk in. Anyway, so that's why it's a clever name, but it's also a very bad name because if you search it up on social media, you get a lot of very unhappy people talking about dubious acts of sock puppetry. manipulation of bot accounts
Right.
and being crappy and like lying on the internet, but not in a fun way you'll enjoy. So there
Lies you
are
won't enjoy.
lies you won't enjoy. That's sock puppets. So every once in a while I'll see something nice, and every once in a while I won't. But I do have a moral of the story from today. I was just telling Anthony that something nice happened just before we started the stream. Uh, I shipped out all the copies of my game after the Kickstarter, and I shipped them out in like February, maybe the first couple days of March. And then maybe 3 weeks ago, I got a message from one of my only South American backers saying like, "Hey, uh, do you know if you've shipped? Do you know if any of the other backers in Argentina have gotten their copy yet?" And I said, "I'm afraid you're the only one." And I remember specifically Argentina because there were logistical considerations for Argentina specifically.
Well,
At one point, my main shipping agent dropped Argentina, but didn't fully drop it from their like options. And so you could click it and it was like $10,000 for an Argentina shipment. And that wasn't real. It was just like the maximum number in their ability to display things or whatever. But I just remember going, oh, Argentina, I'm doing my best. And so I shipped a copy. And then I was like, oh, well, gosh darn it. I suppose it got lost on the way. And that's fine. So what I did was send, I was like, okay, I'll get back. And the Canada Post strike I'll know if that's happening or not. And then I will be able to send a new copy. And then I got a message today and I was like, oh, shoot. I've been back a couple days. I really do need to send that copy. And it's the Argentinian backers saying, hey, I got the copy.
oh, okay.
So the moral of the story is, kids, procrastinate until the very last moment, and then maybe your problems will solve themselves.
We'll just go away. Maybe the global postal system will figure it out.
It's just going to figure it out, folks. It'll only take 3 months. That's all. Just be patient.
So are most of your Kickstarter backer things arrived, sent out? Is that it?
There's only one shipment that I can but haven't send, and that's the big puppet that I made for the Kickstarter, who someone will be receiving in the post. A professional puppeteer, actually. I have permission to share that information.
That's cool.
Trained with the Jim Henson Company. Extremely cool. Love that Herman the puppet is going to a good home, but I can't send Herman yet because Herman has some games to play first. So.
Oh, excellent. You're going to do a couple of calls, a couple of like live plays with people with Herman?
Yeah, that's right. Including, in fact, Herman's future owner.
Oh, sweet.
I had to pause before owner because it felt wrong. You can't earn owner, Herman. That's a person.
I love the idea of sending what was probably one of the first puppets you ever made to someone who works with professional puppets.
I know.
And maybe is a good puppet maker themselves, maybe not. But it's a little bit akin to sending like a 4-year-old's drawing to like a professional artist and being like, here
you go. There were caveats all over the page, like don't buy this, the eyeball might fall off. And that's still true.
And that's still true. It's always true of a puppet. I guess it's true of all of us in a way.
Yeah. I actually was doing some drawing with a 2-year-old in the UK, and that was absolutely fascinating because there's a certain logic to it and a certain not logic to
it. There is a lot of logic to a certain level of kid drawing, right? Like there's like all the things have to be there is what I have found drawing with young people, right? Is like if I draw something and I draw a dog and one of the dog's legs is hidden behind the other leg so it's not immediately visible, my niece will be like, why does the dog have 3 legs? And I'd be like,
happened.
Yeah?
That happened. Yeah. I had drawn the 2-year-old's father, and the 2-year-old said, like, where's his other eye, essentially? And I was like, oh, it's on
the other side of his head.
I'll draw it. It won't quite look like normal, but I'll draw it. And then he thought it was very funny, Daddy with eyes that look like that. He wasn't wrong.
He was right.
This is actually, it was a delight because he is 2 and he's quite an early speaker, which means you get this like stream of consciousness. Every thought that's ever graced a human mind is now going to just stream out of his mouth. And it's absolutely fascinating because some things are surprisingly precocious, and some things are really not. And some things I'm not sure if are because he's British or because he's a smart kid. So at one point, he walks over to the window. Again, this is a 2-year-old child. And he looks outside and he says, overcast today. And he had a few, like, I'm actually 40 moments. Another one was there's this kid who was his frenemy, and the kid walks up to him and goes like, ah, because the kids learned how to like surprise you to like, ah, ah. So the kid walks up and goes, ah. And my nephew goes, a bit loud.
Oh my gosh, that's charming. It does.
Yeah.
It's hard to separate it from the Britishness, you know? A British person is just so much more likely to look out the window and say, a bit overcast.
Overcast today.
Yeah.
A bit loud.
A bit loud.
And then you'll hear things that are like, oh, this is just a mirror being held up to me. Now I know what I'm like. I was speaking with this child, and at one point he looks up at me and goes, whoops. And I'm like, whoops. And he laughs because you've validated the words that have come out of his mouth. And this becomes a kind of ritual. He'll say whoops, and I'll say whoops, and he'll be like, louder. And I'll be like, I can't. Oh, got to be quiet now. Let's see, quiet, loud. And so then I'll say whoops. But I didn't understand why this was happening until like a week later. I'm at a board game cafe because, of course, I went to a board game cafe while traveling.
You didn't go to the game convention,
but I didn't go to the game convention.
Yeah, yeah.
But the cafe, of course.
Of course.
Actually, shout out to that cafe because it's super cool. Arcanist's Tavern in London. If you are in London, there is an immersive tabletop gaming cafe which has tons of role-playing game events and local zines from local RPG designers. Cool stuff happening every day, an elaborately made up like tavern setting. And they also have board games, good board games, and people who know things about board games. Really huge shout out to Arcanist Tavern. Very cool place that I'm glad I went to. But I'm at Arcanist Tavern and I knocked something over on the table and I said, whoops. And then like 2 seconds later, I knocked something else over and said, whoops. And then I went, oh, that's just me. I guess I just say whoops every day, all the time in my life. Like a weird, like a strange little robot who's programmed to do that all the time. And then I knew I had to reconcile with that reality.
And that's the kind of thing that a kid won't miss, you know? Like other adults might be, polite enough to let that pass, but a kid will not.
A kid will not.
Did you tell that story because Time Roller is in the chat saying this?
I just opened the chat and I couldn't believe it. Time Roller is a longtime viewer who will always enter our chat room by saying, what ups, I believe it's officially short for. Time Roller has their own emoji and everything, but it goes whoops.
Whoops.
Whoops. And the timing was magical on that Time Roller, so.
But the story had nothing to do with Time Roller's appearance.
I'm afraid not. Total coincidence.
How does it feel being back in our large, less enlightened country?
I love being home. Home is a place I'm really happy to be all the time. I'm really not much of a traveler. I'll do it. I will do it. But being home, really hard to overstate how nice home is. So I don't know. Do you like traveling, Anthony?
I do like traveling, but I think I'm more similar to you than to the median person, I think. I was going to ask you to speculate on what you think what makes the difference between folks who really love traveling? Because people like really, really love traveling, right? Like it becomes like a real purpose to living life. Versus folks like you, and I think a little bit like me, who I'm like, I don't mind to travel, but there's nothing in me that hungers for it, which in some ways I feel like makes me feel like I'm broken. I'm like, is there something deeply wrong with me that I don't want, that I'm not like dying to travel? Because I think that's a common experience for a lot of people. Do you have any sense of like what it is that makes that difference?
I think there are a couple of things. One, I think there's things in my favor and things against it. One is that if you're a creature of routine, it's not great to be like befuddled from that. I really like to cook. And if I'm out traveling, often you can cook, but then if you are cooking, you're not really having the local cuisine. And that's like, well, that's part of the reason that I'm here.
Hmm.
But then if I'm not cooking, I feel unmoored, listless and powerless and
Really?
strange. Yeah, it's
Just
it's
in
like
general. Like,
yeah, I would say so.
wow.
I've been cooking in my entire adult life. I moved out knowing nothing about how to cook, like so deeply knowing nothing about how to cook. And I was 18, uh, and I just tried to cook all the things. And I had a natural advantage because I was vegetarian even at the time, and that's continued in the decades following. But I haven't ever needed to learn like a whole discipline of food, and that did help quick start things.
Why do you say that being vegetarian was an advantage?
Well, there's so much to learn about cooking meat.
Ah,
And
yes.
then also, even if you set that aside, there's certain things that you can rely on for a meat centric diet that you don't have that luxury in a vegetarian context. So, as an example, right? I feel like you don't need to learn as much about spicing if you have a traditional North American, like meat and potatoes cooking approach. You
Hmm.
might not get into learning about like how to make a spice bloom or how to make vegetables taste good. Like you don't necessarily need to, and that does
Yeah.
mean that you miss out on a ton of like interesting cultural approaches to food. You miss out on a lot of opportunities to explore like how to compose a meal as it's approached by different directions. But but I'm not suggesting that there's a couple asterisks, right? One is I think you can be a good cook and stay very much in like the rut of standard North American cooking because you can still make things that taste great and have people who are very impressed and pleased by your works.
Yeah.
And the second is that I had, I think, maybe an inherent advantage in that I grew up in a fairly multicultural area, which meant that I was sort of primed to want to explore those kind of cultures.
It's
Plenty of
true.
people move out and are vegetarian and just don't do this. This isn't like a universal vegetarian moves out experience. So, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
There is a weird trade-off of like I have found I've been vegetarian for a lot of my adult life too, and I have found that like uh, yeah, I like didn't have to learn how to cook all the meat things, which now I understand. I'm just missing that entire library, um, which clearly must have been an advantage, some sort of focus, right? But then there is that sense in which like when you're working with vegetables, there's maybe like more effort. There's like more effort put into making the ingredients taste good. Kind
Yeah,
of. There's more
you have
combining.
to, I think.
Yeah, where it's not like there isn't like nuance and skill to cooking meat well, but if you do the technique well, I think you like get a depth of flavor for free that's quite pleasing. I don't know.
Yes,
It's just like a
that is
trade-off.
exactly what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, because there's that richness, there's that umami, you don't have to puzzle it out. You can just have that built in. Maybe you don't even have to delve into as much about like balancing different aspects of the different five tastes or what have you,
Yeah. Right.
your whole sour, sweet, bitter, umami, salty situation.
But that's
But
a very good skill to be forced to learn at some point.
I'm very
Is like to
grateful.
think about that balance.
It occurs to me there's an additional consideration, which is that I'm old. At the time that I went vegetarian and I moved out and all that stuff, you really couldn't get like a microwave vegetarian dinner. Like that wasn't an option. So I had
Right.
to do something, lest I
Yeah.
eat craft dinner every day and atrophy.
Yeah. You really did have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. I wonder how different the being a vegetarian 20-year-old is now. You know.
Oh, super different.
I,
Like, especially when I went vegan in, I guess, 2011, 2012, because at that point, there was like, there was vegan margarine, and that was like, wow, innovation. It was hot off the presses, and it was firm. They hadn't
it
figured
was
out how to make
firm.
it the same like consistency. Um, yeah, you couldn't get sour creams or yogurts or cheeses really in any, well, I mean there were like one or two, but it was like I don't know if that's a good idea. Maybe just forget that cheese exists for another 15 years and then you can think about it again. I did eventually get into vegan cheese making and figure out how to do that, but that was too much work for just to raise my cholesterol unnecessarily. That's right. We're talking cholesterol on the stream. Everyone loves when you talk about cholesterol on your gaming live stream.
There is something about this conversation which feels like it goes directly against the culture of Twitch. This feels very much like two old guys reminisce about cooking.
I mean, Amanda's done taxes on her stream, so I think we're just following in the vein of a crowd tradition
Good
of being
point.
boring old people on Twitch.
That's kind of our niche that we're trying to get into, you know? Like, there's not a lot of people in that space of being boring and old on Twitch. There probably is. I don't know.
Who's to say? Anthony and I are fake streamers because we don't engage with the larger stream community mostly, although someone's been playing a campaign of the Hourglass Sings recently, which is one of my games. So I have been very much enjoying watching them go. Totally different vibe to our thing. Because, yeah, they've been doing a dip pen that they'll dip in ink and then journal. And most of the time that they're writing the prompts to this solo game that they're playing, they're not talking to the audience. They'll pause and engage with the chat, talk about what they're thinking, talk to the chat. But a lot of the time, it's just like a quiet sort of, I'm here, you're here, I'm being creative. And every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you're going to hear like the next part of the story. And in the interim, we'll just chat a little bit. I thought it was really cool.
That's really cool. I love that concept. I have to interrupt you because something very important has happened for the history of this channel. Whoa! And another thing, but we just got our first sub ever. Rapala just subscribed to our channel, which hasn't been possible until a couple of hours ago. Thank you so much, Rapala. That is very sweet. We are touched. And welcome. Fangang is here. We are being raided.
Is that the sound of being raided?
Every time it happens, that's what I think about. I'm just my body being struck by raiders. Just viewers just coming through me. Welcome. Nightmare 4K, Marvel Man, Lock the Fox. Get in here.
Come on in, children. Let's tell us a story.
We've got a great story for you today. We don't know what it's about yet because we haven't made it up.
That's true, but the time will come when we have made it up, and Amanda will be here, and we'll be here, and all will be well.
Marvel Man, we're doing good, to answer your question. We're feeling good. Glad to be back in the hot seat. Actually, my seat's a normal temperature. I guess body temperature. That's kind of hot, right? 37 degrees Celsius. That's hot.
That's hot in many ways. And you're hot, Kurt.
Anthony, stop.
I had to close the window so that we don't get background noise from the streets of Toronto in here. So it's especially hot on this seat over here.
Ah, gotcha.
One thing we're going to do today, different than our previous attempts at this stream, is we're not going to leave Amanda in the Zoom waiting room. Oh, but she still can't find it. Oh.
I knew this would happen. I should have done something. Amanda doesn't know how to get on this call if she doesn't have a daily invite on our shared calendar.
Oh, I see, yes.
Call out post for Amanda.
Are you working on that, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. What if we just put a link to the Zoom in chat here and just everybody could join the Zoom? We just get all of us in here. Kurt makes a new overlay with like 15 slots and we just all play the game together.
Yeah, we can trust you all with that, right? You're not gonna be weird.
No one will do something that might get us banned from Twitch, right?
Yeah. I think probably no one will, and this is a good plan and not a bad idea.
I trust most of the people that are here. I think it actually would work, but it would, quickly open us up to things getting out of hand. People who've just come over from Amanda's stream, what's going on over there? Give us a recap. We were unfortunately also streaming, so we did not see the end of it. Marvel Rivals, that's the one.
Marvel Legends is probably also a game. Who's
Marvel Legends is a thing, right? I don't know. Sounds right. Just before you all arrived, dear Rapala, was the first person ever to subscribe to Lies You'll Enjoy. We made affiliate status in this past month, and we just finished clicking all the buttons and setting things up. So now you can subscribe if you want to, which is pretty cool. I was looking at all the settings. Whoa, there's a lot of settings. I'm not a real streamer, guys. I don't know how any of these things work. But be grateful that I didn't accidentally do 30 minutes of ads per every hour of stream, because I think I can do that.
Is that real? No.
You can do a lot. I'm gonna let Amanda in here, and let's see what happens to our beautiful overlay in the chaos. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, if it isn't Amanda McKnight.
Oh, we can't
Hello.
hear you, Amanda.
Hello.
Oh, there you are.
I'm back. I was like, it's weird. I came in and then because I was listening to the stream, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to turn that off before I joined the call. So many echoes.
Lock the Fox coming in clutch with the info. Marvel Legends is a thing. It's a line of action
It is.
figures. It had to be, right? It had to
knew
be
it.
a thing.
I knew it.
Also, I think there's doesn't Legendary have Marvel cards that they do, like a Marvel set?
You know
Or
what?
does
I think.
Legendary only have DC? Maybe they're only DC.
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I think that's what I was thinking of, though, because that's a Marvel game I've played.
The DC.
The DC game I've played, which is the same thing, right? Uh-oh. All of Amanda's viewers leave.
No,
Oh.
it's fine.
DC
It's all
Legends is a
good.
thing, right?
Yeah, DC Legends is also a thing.
It's a line
But
of
I think
inaction
it's-
figures.
Yeah, I don't know what the DC action figures are called, but could be DC Legends. Let's be real. That seems like a thing that one of them would probably have taken it from the other. There's a lot of that goes around, I'll say.
Whoa.
Also, wait,
Nefarious.
did you build like a glitch into our thing?
I'm not sure what that question means. If you mean should
The
the colors
overlay?
be all
You were a
crazy?
layout?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, did it move? Is it
Oh,
animated?
No.
That's so that's a 100% legitimate homegrown glitch right there.
Oh, that's just Twitch glitch. All right.
Yeah, Twitch.
I saw it, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I thought it was shifting. Or maybe I.
It sure was. That's what happens, Amanda, when I move the zoom window from one monitor to another
Oh.
monitor.
Right. That makes sense. All right, but yes, we did have a good Marvel Rivals time. We won some games, we lost some games. Nightmare, thank you so much for coming and checking out the stream. I hope you have a good time getting set up for. Are you also you're gonna be streaming now too, right, Nightmare?
In
I hope you have
4K,
a good
I'm
time setting
told.
up for stream. Oh, in 4K. Yeah. Oh, cause yeah. I was going to say, I don't think you can stream in 4K,
Because, yeah.
but Nightmare could.
Yeah, because we
All
would
right,
totally
Nightmare.
be doing it if you could. It's not
If you
that
could,
we don't
we
know
will.
how. We just you just can't. So
I actually did just apply for the 2K streaming on Twitch.
well, it's
'cause
been like
there's
25 years since then, Amanda. I think you missed your chance.
What do you mean I missed my chance?
Boo.
No. I just signed up for it. It's early access.
Well, it's
I don't know if I
2K25
got-
now, isn't it?
No. It's just 2K, I think.
He's making a year joke. It's really stupid.
I
Please
know,
ignore
but
him.
I'm like, I think it's just 2K visually.
Rapala's streaming in 5K, so we're
Wow,
all
that's crazy. What
deeply
is
left
5K
behind.
like? Is it like, can you reach through the screen? I feel like that's got to be
Yes,
5K.
all
right?
5 senses.
All five
senses.
eyeballs are engaged.
Smell-o-vision.
Yeah, you can smell me.
You know, it's weird because it's one of those things that, like, who would want that? But then I think
The moment you say it,
someone wants
but wait, that's out there.
But wait.
But wait. You can't even see it. That's how new it is. Oh, so you just don't see anything. Okay, I
Whoa.
like that. So we've come full
Crazy.
circle.
Now I see. Now I see.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, everybody that joined us for the raid. And this is a stream where we do something completely different than what I just did.
That's
But
true.
very fun.
Yeah, very
Like it.
fun.
Helmet. I don't think I can wear it with my cat ears on, but
Does your helmet have headphones in it?
no, it's just like I got this at the dollar store. This is just like pads on the side.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
just so
okay.
it's cushiony on your head.
That's cool though. I
Yeah,
like
it's pretty cool. It's giving Buzz Lightyear a little bit. I like it.
it.
You need the
good.
the green and purple aesthetic to go with it.
Yeah.
I guess we've got green and purple in like our overlay situation, but
We do. We
yeah.
got some green and purple going on there. Also, we have subs now. Look at this.
I
Look
know
how
we just
fancy
got
we
our
are.
first sub, Amanda.
We did. Oh my goodness, who was our first sub?
Guess
It was
who it
Rapala.
was?
It was Rapala.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
It's so sweet. Thank you, Rapala.
Thank you,
Very
Rapala,
kind.
for our first sub. Also, if you guys get in now, you get like a foundation badge when you're like one of the first subs on somebody's channel.
Oh,
Whoa.
Which is
sweet.
pretty fun. Yeah, I'm
We
tempted to
won't
sub 'cause
physically
I
mail
want
you a
one.
badge though. You'll have to make one and then embroider it on your outfit yourself.
Yeah, see,
You all have your scout uniforms,
Rapala
right?
has it. Founder badge, the founder badge first.
Whoa.
What a pro.
That's
What an
even better
absolute
than when you
nurse.
come into chat and you say first, because that's like a permit. You really were first. You were like the first there at the start. I
Wow,
wasn't even
Amanda's
first.
always
You weren't on
hustling.
mine, but you are first. You get to be first here, so that's still pretty great.
That's why we made another channel just for you, Rapala, just to give you the chance to be first.
Rapala, consider yourself lucky that you're not first on my channel, because I don't know if you were there for the days. I think you were there for some of the days when I was streaming with my laptop and it was terrible. Lock, thank you so much for the sub.
Thanks for subscribing. Oh my gosh. I don't know how to handle it. Please, no one else subscribe.
Please don't do
We
it.
can't handle this many founders.
Lock, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the sub. That's so nice. Yeah, so the early days of my streaming were not, yeah, they were not very good. But, you know, it was like every 10th frame you could see me.
Pretty
I was-
good.
Like moving like this.
Sounds like 5K to me.
That's like halfway to Ocarina of Time FPS, so that's not that bad.
Yeah, I
Wait,
think
no.
you were there for some of it, Rapala. I feel like you were there for some of it. But not the beginning where like I couldn't even get it to go. That was the real beginning of the stream. It was like I would try to make it go live, and I think we'd be live for like 2 minutes and it would crash because I didn't know what I was doing at all. I've definitely grown since then. This is true. Is that you being in the stream?
Yeah.
Trying to
I'm
create-
just that's the frame rate that I'm getting right now.
Great Amanda impression.
Thank
Perfect.
you. I've been polishing it the whole time I've been gone.
Yeah, I think Chris is the person that has been around the longest, I think, in my community on stream. Yeah, I think so. I can't think of anyone that's been around. There were some other people, but not everyone's here anymore. People go and do other things.
What?
Some people
No,
left. Yeah.
don't say it,
Or they're-
Amanda.
Or they might still be there, but they might just be like quiet. That's the other thing I think. I'm like, some of them might still be here, but they might just be lurking.
I see. Yeah.
Because some of them were not talkative people anyways. So I don't know. Are you someone that's watching the stream that's been here for like 4 years watching me stream before Lizel and Joy? Don't say anything. Because I like
Keep
that there's a bit
quiet.
of mystery if you aren't saying anything. So just keep doing you.
Well, there's a lot of people
Okay.
in chat not saying anything, Amanda. I think you've got a lot of OGs here.
Yeah, Michael, maybe. Michael could be around. There's just people that I know that we're not as talkative, so they might be chilling. So, and if they are, or if they're not, sending good vibes to them. Whether you're watching or you're somewhere else in the world right now doing something else, you're great.
Near, far,
Wherever
you are. That's what you're all paying for, right? That's what our founders
gosh.
want.
Did Zoom just ask if we're playing music?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Set up
that's what I
professional
call
audio
music.
in
We're
audio settings. So Zoom,
Obviously.
professional audio.
I would consider myself a professional audio man.
Me too.
I'm glad. I suppose it's high time that we talk about what we're up to today.
Should we say who we are very quickly?
I
We
would
haven't done
love if
that.
we did.
Yeah. Great.
What are we,
Well,
40 minutes in?
that's the perfect
35.
time. 35 minutes. Now the real stream begins. Welcome to Lies You'll Enjoy. My name is Anthony. I am a children's author, among other things, and a lifelong player of role-playing games. And I love playing games with these two right here. One of those two being Kurt.
Thanks, Anthony.
Also, oh my goodness. Sorry, I just saw Tully is also in the YouTube chat. Hello, Tully. Sorry, I'm late.
That's
Keep
fine.
going. I'm
Hi,
sorry to
Tully.
interrupt you.
I
Hi.
told Tully hi already, though, so I
You
think
did.
I'm the only one who had clearance to continue my introduction. Hi, folks. My name is Kurt. I am a lover of role-playing games, a player of role-playing games. And today I am lucky enough to do what I do almost every Monday, which is play a lovely indie RPG with two of my dear friends, one of whom has not yet introduced themselves. Amanda.
Hello, it's me, Amanda. I am a streamer and an actor and a cosplayer and a YouTuber. And I like playing role-playing games. Fun facts. And so every week-ish, we get together on Monday and we do that. And I have played a lot of role-playing games over the years, mainly because of Kurt, because Kurt has introduced me to so many different role-playing games. And actually, I think Kurt is the one that introduced me to role-playing games, I think, the first time ever. I think it was Kurt.
You thinking of Everyone is John in ancient times?
Yeah, Everyone is John. We played Everyone is John. And then we talked about, people were talking about playing Dungeons and Dragons. And then I played Dungeons and Dragons with Alex. And then I played Dungeons and Dragons a bunch more times. And now we don't play Dungeons and Dragons at all here. We play everything that is not Dungeons and Dragons.
Don't do
So, if you like the idea of Dungeons and Dragons, if you've played it before, or if you haven't, and you're just like, RPGs, that sounds cool, but where do I start? And it's a lot, it's intimidating. That's what I love about this stream, because when we get together here, we just get to play games that are nice and fun, and usually are pretty easy for people to pick up, and also very accessible. So yeah, that's me. And then I also just kind of introduced the stream. I don't know. I don't know why I did that, but there you go.
Oh,
You
great.
did great.
We need to
You
do
did
it.
great.
No, it's
I
perfect.
do regret doing the like tongue out when I was flipping off Hasbro, because my tongue, it seems, is brown because of my mysterious not tea beverage. And that's just a bad look. I'm out here in the baseball Doug chewing on tobacco, apparently.
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 What's your mystery beverage that you're having?
Can't say due to YouTube terms of service, but
Oh.
it's somewhere between the texture of pudding and water.
That's only going to confuse you more.
Okay, great.
I know the brown tongue really looks bad.
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't seem good. It doesn't. Oh, no. Oh, if we put all the dots together, it seems like I've done horrible, sinful things.
It does. Hey, Tully. I think that let's just move on from that.
I think that's wise. Yeah. Why don't we talk about what game we're playing today, Kurt? This is a moment for you to redeem yourself.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. We're playing a game called The World We Left Behind, which was developed by the ineffable Sam Lee, who we've also played a game from before. I suppose I'll say that now. Amanda and I, on one of our Anthony List streams, played Death of the Author, which at the time I believe was still playtesting. It was a solo game that we commandeered for multiplayer play. And this game we're playing today is not a solo game, but it has solo rules baked in because that's how Sam rolls.
All right.
We are playing a game called The World We Left Behind. I don't think you have to say it like that. It just felt appropriate. In The World We Left Behind, we will play as astronauts trekking across an alien planet. We're going to learn about the planet's flora and fauna while uncovering vestiges of the past. What happened to the sapient species that called this planet home? Why do only remnants of their lives remain? So we are going to be drawing cards and also drawing on cards, making a sort of tableau of cards, which we will use to tell a story and build a world. I don't really understand how to play, but I'm told by the rulebook that's fine because you can go in without knowing anything. I now know more
Okay.
than nothing, so we will be in a decent position. And indeed, we will start in the same way we've started many games, by talking through some questions that the game so cleverly provokes us with at the beginning here. So I would ask that Amanda and Anthony, if you could both open the rule book, which is kept on our communal drive area. Folks in the chat, you might want to know we use this storage area to share rule books, spreadsheets, and also my crappy little every week I make a different thumbnail and overlay. Why do I do this? I've surely delayed us hours cumulatively over the course of our live streaming quote unquote careers. And yet here we are, Technicolor and wretched, with art that was originally featured in a French publishing of War of the Worlds. So there you go.
Oh, wow. Well, that
Not the
feels-
colors. I added the colors.
Yeah.
But the
The art.
design. That's some OG stuff.
That's
anyway,
really cool.
I will direct
Yeah,
your
I'm with
attention.
Rapala. Not crappy. Not crappy.
Sometimes crappier than other times.
Usually
but
pretty
I
cool.
always put my heart into it, which is one of the 4 suits that we'll be using to play today's game.
Whoa, he's so good at a segue.
I was going to dab on camera because someone joked that I dab yesterday. And then it turns out I think you dab with fists. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, you don't do that.
Very aggressive.
What? I thought you dab like this.
Yeah, you don't use fists. Fists
Yeah.
are not how one dabs.
Oh, you were saying you dab like this?
Yeah, it might just be because then I'm more likely to fit
I
in
think
frame.
This is dancing, though. You can dance.
I think this looks
Not
genuinely
dabbing.
afraid. I think this looks scared.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
hiding
I
your
am quite
face.
scared every time I dab. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
afraid of the judgment and the world.
As you should.
Dabbing's a form of self-defense.
Rapala, thank you. Rapala says, also, Amanda, you're smart. Thank you. I am smart, but not when it comes to finding Zoom links. That's my one weakness.
We
Now
all
you
have to have a
know.
weakness. It's okay.
That's right. That's my one.
Should we be heading to page 9, Kurt?
Page 9?
That is exactly where you should be heading. What a clever Anthony.
The people watching
Very
already got
clever,
to see
Anthony.
page 9. They're way ahead of us.
They
Wow.
did?
Yeah.
How did they see it?
I showed it to them.
Oh my goodness. They got a preview. Okay. It looks like a Dracula impression. What, dabbing? I guess if you had a cape. Sure. I think you want your eyes to be a little higher though. Like you don't want to be
Ugh.
like this.
Do
Wow.
not look upon me because I must be shaded from the sun. And also very cool doing my dance moves. Is this a dance move that a
Oh my
Dracula would do?
Dracula
Oh my
is the
God.
first one to dab, historically.
Time Roller has a dab emote in chat. That's glorious.
And respect on that. You know, you got
That's
to call it where
impressive.
it's due.
We're gonna have to, now that we've made it, we also need to do emotes, and maybe that's what we should have, a dab emote. Do we have a dab emote?
Oh, God.
And then one for
fists.
Kurt's brown tongue. And then we're flipping-
Absolutely not. The worst 2 suggestions I've ever
Pudding
heard.
water emote.
And I've heard myself talk before.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, the awkward. And then also the little raccoons. This is giving me inspiration. I
Man.
think dabbing definitely needs to be one. Dracula dabbing, ideally.
Dracula dabbing.
Yeah.
Dabcula? No.
I'll dab for the next thumbnail.
Okay. We can all dab for the next thumbnail.
Please don't. I'll have so much trouble fitting us all in frame.
so many arms to fit in.
Yeah, especially I feel like all of our arms are really long. We have long arms. The 3 of
I
us.
think we probably have normal-ish sized arms.
No, my arms are long. I think I told you guys about that story when I was at the hospital. They told me I had long arms.
An official
They did.
diagnosis from the hospital?
I was there for. for
I'm
something
sorry.
else.
You have long arms.
Long arms.
No, I was
It's
there.
terminal.
I was there for
You will
surgery,
die with
and they're
long
getting me
arms.
ready, and I'm like laying on the table, and they were just like, "Oh wow, you've really long arms," and I was like, "Oh, like what do you like? They're longer than normal," and they were like, "Yeah, your arms are really long," and I was like, "Oh, okay," and then they were like, "Anyways, time to go do the surgery," and I was like, "Well, now I'm just thinking about that," but
And
all
just as
right.
you're going under, they're like, "Do you want us to shorten them up? We'll shorten them up." And you're like, "No!"
See, it's fascinating that we say this because I have no idea if I have long arms or not, because I know that I have short legs relative to a long torso, but are arms part of leg continuum or are they going to follow torso rules? I don't
Great
know these
question.
things.
I
Great
think people
question.
say that your arms are about the same length as your legs, but I don't know if that's true.
I think people say this.
But I don't know if it's based on any science. Probably not. People say a
So
lot of things.
people say a lot of things. So on page 9,
Uh,
it also says a lot of things. Anthony, I know that you have it open and are willing to return this serve. Could you read out the first of the questions that we must answer?
Absolutely. Which tone do you want to set with this story? Examples: eerie, lighthearted, or somber. So we've explained well enough what this game is, right? Have we talked about?
I mean, I read out the blurb.
Okay,
I
great.
could-
We read the blurb. We read the blurb. Yeah.
Yeah. Exploring
Great.
an alien planet. The people who lived here aren't here. What happened?
what happened to them? Time for
Yeah.
us to figure it out.
Do a
We're
little world building.
astronauts.
You know, we're astronauts. We're astronauts.
We're
Yeah.
exploring and figuring things out about this world that we know nothing about. We just got here. Is that the idea? Through exploring the flora, the fauna, not two sisters, but the animals and the plants of
Kurt
the
wasn't
world.
following chat. You can see.
Oh.
You
Oh,
were-
that's true. That's true. I'm desperately trying to figure out
Just to
the
clarify.
How to
rules
play the
while we
game.
do this.
Right. So
yeah, what do you think,
eerie,
Amanda?
lighthearted, or somber?
Those are some examples, or something
okay.
else of our own.
What tone do we want to set?
Full slapstick comedy the whole time. Really mistreat Sam's game.
Here's
I
the
feel
thing.
like I don't know how that'll work with this, but I mean, it'll probably come up in some capacity anyways, even if we try to not do it, because it's just how it is.
Is
Also,
it
you're
even
playing with me.
possible
I
for
don't
us
know.
to do something that's not both tragic and
And
absurdly
kind of funny.
humorous?
Yeah. That's usually how we do it.
Do we only have
But-
one tone? Oh no.
There are some
No.
times we're just full sad or full funny, for
But
sure.
we're on that spectrum. The spectrum.
It's the
must be
sad,
respected.
funny spectrum.
Yeah.
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 Tragic humor. But I don't
was
know.
gonna propose. I like a bit of like a cosmic
I do.
horror vibe.
Yeah, I like
That's
the
fun, that's
eerie
fun.
kind of suspenseful. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
What
do you
is
know?
this? But then there's something looming over your shoulder.
You know, Kurt, if there's like a bit of, do we have characters? Like are the astronauts embodied at all, or are we just describing
That will be the
world?
next page, I believe.
Okay. I was wondering whether like I was thinking like cosmic horror mixed with like introspection seems like a nice grounding element of the whole thing.
That sounds sick as hell if you're asking me. And in a sense, you directly did.
I didn't phrase it as a question, but it was implied.
Also, our next question is, how grounded in science do you want this story to be? So, like, how hardcore do we want to go?
Right. So there's a spectrum between like hard sci-fi, sort of the Martian kind of thing, and then more of a campy, Star Trek, like we're going to have the convenient technology that we need to like explain something away.
Right.
And that's, I think, a sick question, honestly. That's
I
a
think
very
it's a really
exciting
good
question to me.
question.
The old poop potato to Klingon scale. A classic scale to have to figure out.
I feel like I lean more Star Trek because
Sure.
I don't know a lot about science.
I had a
and-
feeling you were going to
It's
say
proven.
those things when I was reading the questions, and
That's
I was
pressure.
prepared to say, sure.
Yeah, I think
But
that's good.
I don't think it has to be like I feel like there can be some stuff, obviously, within the parameters of what we know. I think it's always best to write what you know. So whatever how much science knowledge do you guys have?
Lots. I have a degree in sciences.
But
I technically have a degree in sciences.
right. But what kind of science is it? Like alien science?
Ecology, not far off.
Oh, that
Kinda
actually
useful.
is, yeah, that is kind of like what you could maybe use if you were on another planet.
And I think
That's
Kurtz is in
pretty close. Yeah.
environmental science.
Environmental sciences. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
oh,
actually
yeah.
pretty
so
relevant.
That's
This
actually
is good.
pretty relevant. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we could like I'm also open to go a little bit more into the science realm.
I
I
think
just
Let's say no policing, but if we have any science we can throw in, we'll do
Go
it.
with it. Yeah.
go
Perfect.
for it.
Yeah, great.
Why not? I like learning about science through stories.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's why The Martian was good. I mean, Matt Damon
I
did
agree.
a great job.
Also,
Sure.
Matt Damon did a great job. That's also true. Yeah. But The Martian is great because it's so real.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's all-
Question 3? I'm just pulling
Yeah.
it up on the screen. What do you want in this story? It was a very open-ended question.
Not want in this story.
Oh, wait. Thank you. I can't read. What do you not want in this story? And the examples include eyeball gore. Oh, my gosh. Genocide. Yikes. Spider-like creatures. This is a good question.
So this is what we would call a lines and veils sort of question, in which we're establishing a baseline of things that we don't want to explore, which is pretty common in the RPG space. I personally like, yeah, if it's a like super heavy theme involving like, I mean, genocide is a fair like nope, right? But if we want to do spooky like cosmic-y things, I'm down for that. That sounds fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm down for all the horror elements that we want to explore, the
Yeah.
gore. I would just say, because we just did one that involved kind of child death, if we could not.
To our surprise.
We didn't know. And like, I think we really kind of handled that well. And it wasn't like, I'm not even upset that it was in there. I wasn't like, how dare they? I'm not outraged. Just because we just went there though, I'm like, maybe for this one, let's just make sure the kids are all right.
We don't want to become the child death stream, you know?
No,
That's bad for the brand.
Become our tone. What's your tone? Child death.
I don't want to
horror
have
games.
We're somewhere between a little bit funny and a little bit sad. And there's always a child who dies.
I just really don't want to have to add that to the tags on Twitch.
Yeah, could you imagine? Just banned. Actually, you know what? I had my first title yesterday on Twitch that they were like, oh, like you can't do that.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I've never had them censor a title before. But it was
Pudding
for
water?
my Pardon?
I said pudding water? Is that what you were?
No, it wasn't the pudding water. That they said you can do that. They said do that everywhere, but you better not call it what it is and only call it pudding water. No, it was I put like give me the Fable trailer, you cowards, or something, because I was doing like the Xbox game showcase.
It's fun.
And I just want like more Fable content.
Sure.
Yeah.
We all know you
And I
love
was-
Fable.
We all know I love Fable. And I was obviously just joking. I didn't mean it seriously because I love Xbox. I'm a big Xbox fan. So I was just like, I'll just put this in, it'll be fun. And they were like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, oh, I guess maybe like bullying, but
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You were bullying Microsoft?
I guess.
I'm glad we're standing up for them.
I guess it's to avoid people just bullying people in general. Like coward maybe is like
Sure.
a banned word.
Have any of you, like in seriousness, called someone a coward?
I'd love to
in
say yes.
real life. Like as like I saw someone and they were like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, you're a
You
coward.
coward.
I've never said
It's
that.
absolutely
I've never
brutal.
said that, but now that I've said it now, I feel like this is like
In a
that would be
movie or
really
something,
cool
maybe.
of me if
Yeah.
I
In a
was that
scene.
kind of person. Where I
Yeah.
was like, do not be a coward. Rise to your station. Like, maybe that's an energy I need to be bringing to everyday
Squish
life.
the spider or something. Like I'm just wondering, like, when would we say that to each other?
Right. It would have to actually be, the thing is, it would have to be serious, right? It couldn't be squish the spider.
I think
Maybe
everyone.
we can find a way to incorporate it today. Maybe today's the day you'll get to say, "Don't be a coward" to someone.
Yeah, we can do it
Oh,
tonight.
for sure. We're
Yeah.
earmarking that. That's going to come up.
That's gonna come.
That's
up.
what I want to see in this story.
Yeah, right.
I don't want to
That's what I
see
mean.
not calling people a coward.
Okay, good. Oh my gosh. Oh, but then I put "give me Fable" or "give me death," and that was apparently fine.
That's okay.
Surely
okay.
that's worse.
That's what I thought. I was like, all right. And I was like, but I mean, obviously I don't actually mean it, so it is fine. But both of those things technically are fine in the context. However, I think that death in your title should be worse than cowards. I
Please
know.
don't call Microsoft a coward, but you can threaten your own death. That's totally fine. Content
Okay,
moderation
you
makes
strange-
sense.
Strange being, yeah. But on YouTube, neither of those is fine. In fact, the fact that we've said, I mean, we're really far in now, so we're probably fine. But if we had started off the stream and said, probably like, don't be a coward and accept child death or something terrible, YouTube
Not
would be
as
like,
one sentence. My God.
we're
What
far
the-
enough in. I think we're safe. YouTube.
I
Don't put it in your tags. Don't
I'm
you
gonna
dare
ban
put
us.
death in your
That's
tags.
what I'm gonna do.
Okay,
What's our
okay.
next question?
Question 4 is, what are you excited to explore in this story besides calling people cowards?
Honestly, I think we've already sort of covered our hype. Maybe you folks have something. I've said my piece.
Can we meet an alien? Is that possible?
I don't know. We can certainly meet alien flora and fauna, and I am
Maybe
excited
not
about that.
sentient aliens.
Let's. I feel like I want to get really weird with like the flora and fauna. I don't know what it's going to throw our way, but like if I have an opportunity, I'm gonna make like a swarm of moss. That's the kind of shit that I will do left to my own devices.
That's what I want. I want weird alien stuff that we get to like interact with and explore.
Okay,
Yeah.
super
And
fun.
I want it to be fun, but also disturbing.
Okay, sweet.
cool.
I
Sick.
wouldn't mind a bit of allegory about the future of humanity, as long as done deftly and just sprinkled in. I want a little bit of social commentary.
Sure. Yeah. Sounds good to me. I don't know if it's even possible not to do that.
Yeah.
Everybody I mean, it's human nature to make a story out of something, right? That's
Of
how we
course.
perceive the world. But I've gotten sidetracked by psychology. Are there any more questions on page 9, or are we moving on to page 10?
Time
We
for
move on to
page
page
10.
Now, page 10, I believe, is character creation.
Also,
Sure
I love
is.
that Time Roller said that my level in social science. Oh, is Amanda in social science? Oh, I thought you were saying that Marvin the Martian level was my level of science, and I was like, yeah, kind of.
Rude.
Like,
I don't know what that means,
no,
but it seems mean.
correct. I was
Don't
like,
make that your Twitch title, or you won't be able to keep it.
But you were saying, Time Roller, you're asking if I'm in social science. No, but I did take sociology when I was in college, so kind of. I did. So I guess I can't say that I don't know anything about science, but I don't know if it'd be useful, like an astronaut. Like, do they need to know about like sociology, like behavioral sciences? Is that
They are like strongly, I know this is asked partly in jest, but like astronauts do have to go through pretty rigorous psychological testing because they're up there so long, right? Imagine you
yeah,
were up
mess with
there
your
with
head?
the average roommate. You can't have that. You have to have someone who's like grounded enough that they can navigate interpersonal situations, especially because the International Space Station is international, right? It's a something where you'd have to navigate different cultures and different life contexts. So yeah, astronauts do have to have some modicum of psychological, if not teaching, then at least
Yes.
testing.
Okay, so that is the one science that I know a bit about, but not enough to like do anything professional with it necessarily. But I know a bit because I studied it in school, and I
There you
always
go.
found it interesting. That and biology, but I didn't follow biology very long, so I don't really know much. Something cells.
Wow, she's so smart.
She nailed it, folks.
Wow,
She nailed it.
Incredible.
Round of applause.
Would you say I'm like Marvin the Martian, or
Well, what
no,
a
that would be unkind.
but it's a good question, Amanda. Is your character a human or an alien? What do they look like?
what? No, they
That's the
can't be
first
an alien,
question.
can they? What? They could be an
Well,
alien.
because we're exploring an alien planet, but they don't have to be from this
I mean, technically,
planet,
we're
right?
aren't
They
we
could be
all
any.
aliens while we're here?
I mean, great point.
Technically,
Someone
Yeah.
put that in chat so we can pin it.
technically, aren't we all aliens while we're here? Technically,
But this could
aren't-
be a species we've already encountered. Humanity has met the Glorbians, you know?
Oh,
You messed it up, Amanda. Embarrassing.
no one look. There you go.
So we're going to
okay.
answer these questions individually and then share with the group. So we could We could read out the questions and then each answer them ourselves.
Yeah, let's go one by one. Just to read out a question, and then we'll all sort of
We'll
answer.
go around.
The first one was human and alien.
We should be the same.
What do you mean?
Well, we should. Well, I guess that's
we
not
don't need
entirely
to be,
true. Never
Like
mind.
in Star Trek,
Yeah,
there's
of
people
course.
from all over that are part of the.
For some reason, I was living in a one sentient creature world.
Huh, strange.
What's wrong with my
Oh.
imagination?
I don't.
We were just talking about international cooperation. What about interplanetary cooperation?
What about interplanetary? I mean, I
Anthony,
feel like if we have
don't be a
interplanetary
coward.
cooperation, don't be a coward.
It happened so soon. All right, well, that was our stream. Thanks all for joining us.
Peace. Yeah, happened so soon. Only took us an hour.
Okay, is your character a human or an alien? What do they look like?
Yeah. So my character is an alien.
Okay.
My character is from one of Jupiter's moons. But I think there is a satellite population on Jupiter as well. This is a silicon-based life form, and I'm actually gaseous. So I'm contained within a suit at all times. And you see a sort of swirling as I process things. You can see my thoughts to some degree as shapes form and patterns manifest. I think it's a very open culture. And that caused some friction when humanity first encountered them with their myriad ways of structured meanings and non-communication of actual intent and need. But the I think there's got to be some colloquial name, right? I'll ponder on what my species is called, but yeah, not a human.
Okay, well, that's a great setup. Now I know that we need contrast, and we're also from the Sol system, apparently. So, I'll be human. My name is... Oh, wait, that's probably one of the other questions. Never mind. It does not answer what do I look like. I'm so instinctual on making characters that I'm like, I'll just answer all the questions right now. My character is 8.5 feet tall, which is the average height of humans, as everybody knows, with lower gravity and increased nutrition. I look middle-aged, but am a questionable number of years old. Now that we have longevity enhancing technology, and I have a large bushy beard, and otherwise no body hair, including eyebrows or eyelashes or anything of the sort.
Okay.
Yeah, that describes me. Amanda, are you an alien or a human?
I think I'm an alien. But I think I look just like a human.
What?
Ooh, cool.
Except I have my 2 ears are on one side of my head.
Interesting.
That's it.
Interesting.
Now we know, folks.
And I think some of my physiology inside my body is different. And culturally might be a little bit different. But otherwise, I think I look pretty much just like a human. But I'm not a human.
I'd like to think that the ears aren't serving the same purpose, and that's why they're over there. Maybe that's
not.
how you breathe.
Maybe.
And so this is the best simulacrum, I think is the word, that you can do. And it's pretty darn good. It's just maybe for the comfort of the humans who are a little bit weird when you look the way that your species would otherwise. Is that fair?
Yes, I like that. Yeah.
Nice. That's cool. I like that a lot. All right. What are 2 words that describe your character?
Open, for sure. We've already established there's a lot of honesty. And I think members of my species, you can intermingle, right? And then you become kind of someone new. So you really want to know what you're dealing with there. So open. And I also think maybe by extension, because there can't be that same level of interchange with humans, difficult sometimes because it's hard to understand why humans aren't willing to do this or that, aren't willing to just come out with it. This is simple, folks. We figured this out. You just say what you mean.
Okay.
So I guess open and stubborn about it.
Open, stubborn, not willing to play social niceties or anything that other sentients might be interested in.
Yep.
Okay, cool. The first word that comes to my mind is ancient. I think this human has been around for a very long time. That's a possibility now, though not everybody chooses it, I think. But my character, this brings us to the second word, is determined, is sort of possessed, I think is perhaps the word, with uncovering something. He's been around for a very long time because his task is not yet done. I think I'll leave it there. But he's been bouncing around the star systems for quite some time.
His task is not yet done.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very ominous.
Maybe some folks behind his back call him a ghost with unfinished business. Long
Ooh,
supposed to
cool.
be dead.
Ooh, okay. Hmm. 2 words.
Yeah, though that is 2 words. 2 and words. Killed it.
Perfect.
Nailed it.
2 words to describe my character. I think I'm gonna say paranoid
Whoa.
and accepting.
I'm going to need a little more on the coexistence of those 2 traits.
Paranoid but accepting.
Yeah. I think my character is a person that kind of thinks that everything is kind of hazardous and is very paranoid about the world around them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have well, not a little bit, a lot. I think they are very paranoid because they are very focused on safety.
Okay.
But they also are they come from a culture that's just very used to kind of like taking things at face value. And so like if somebody were to make an offer or like kind of want to have a proposition, an idea or things like that, they're usually pretty good at trying to see other people's perspectives and accept them for who they are. They just come from a culture that I think is maybe it's like a planet where there's a lot of people that just like come through. So it's just you kind of get used to seeing lots of different people with sort of different ways of life.
A hub world of sorts.
Like a hub world. So I think they're just very open. But they are also very paranoid of pretty much everything and everyone around them as well.
Okay.
Where does that come from, do you think?
I think maybe when they were younger, there was something that happened to them. I think maybe there was either an accident or a near accident that would have been like fatal. And so now it's just like trauma.
Okay. So it's not really about people, it's about safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, nice. Our third question is, what is your character's name or title? I'm very curious what are common names for the races of characters, races of aliens that both of you are playing.
I think my race are called membranes, because without the suit that they use to coexist with humans, they're really just sort of a membranous structure around this gaseous body. So there is some level of individual, right? Having this membrane, you can choose when you want to merge or not. But
Right.
so I think we're called membranes. That's
Okay.
the species name.
Got it.
Your name is I think it's based on what the most represented gas is in your mixture. So I'm neon.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it is a title. I think you have a number as well, that just sort of like keeps consistent. But the number changes based on like who you encounter, right? Because if you like give up part of yourself and they give up part of themselves, your numbers will change based on that encounter. So the numbers aren't usually disclosed except in official documentation, and most people just call me Neon.
But there would be many neons if there were folks like you around. But there aren't.
Exactly. Yeah. But I think it would be like you would know, because of our level of candor, you would know what my number was, because it would be visible, swirling around, in a way that I don't think is perceived by outer species.
Okay.
That's what you are, folks. Outer species.
Outer
So
species.
we don't see the number, but like if you were around like other neons,
Yeah.
other membranes,
Other
they would see the
membranes,
number.
yeah.
And
They
so
would
it's
see the
easier for you guys to distinct when you're around each other, is the idea.
Yeah.
Right.
It's sometimes tricky, I think, if you've got a bunch of membranes and other species, because it's harder to make the distinction, and they might like swap, right, and adjust partway through a journey. That's tricky for people. And as such, I think it's more common to only have like one membrane on a mission that happens with outer planetary connections, because
That makes
that's just
sense.
easier for non-membranes.
Communication. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I like that. That's really cool.
Nice. So neon. Okay. My character's name is Cassius. An ancient Latin name that became popular again as a naming convention in like the middle of like the third millennia, but has since gone out of fashion again for the same length of time. So it sounds ancient to a modern ear, but for a completely different reason than it sounds ancient to us.
Love that.
And of course, it means empty or hollow, as it should. Amanda. Oh, and I don't know, maybe there might be a title, but I think everybody just calls them Cassius.
Sure.
Ooh, she's deep in thought. Thinking about a name.
She thinking.
I think my name is Turn Around.
Whoa, interesting.
Cool. Is it a given name or a name that was adopted?
I think it's everyone where I'm from is named after like actions.
Cool. Sick.
Cool.
And they all kind of represent different things symbolically, but also different people have different interpretations of it. So, like, even my interpretation of my name might be different than my parents' interpretation of my name. And we all have these interpretations, but we don't necessarily like talk about them. So every time you meet someone, it's like you get a sense for who they are, but your sense of who they are might not be the sense of like anyone else's idea, but what that's supposed to represent. So it's representative, but it's different for each person what it means for somebody else.
Cool.
Is there a set of like politenesses around using the phrase "turn around" in your presence in just common parlance? Should we avoid your name except for using it as your name?
No, I think it's actually very it's considered to be kind of like an honor if someone uses your action that is your name in your presence, because it also kind of represents the importance of you, because
Okay.
you are tied to that action in some way. So it's actually kind of honoring you when it gets used. It's like just a reminder that we're all part of something that is larger than ourselves.
Cool. I love it. All right, guys. Last question on this page for our characters individually. What does your character? Why does your character want to travel to the planet? We get a couple of options to think about. Could be, are you a galactic cartographer mapping the planet? Did you pick up an ancient looping distress signal from the planet? Or were your ancestors from the planet?
Hmm.
Ooh.
I feel like
I don't really want us to be from here. I think it's kind of more fun if we're not,
I
if that's okay.
Mhm.
My ancestors are from here. This is Earth. Whoa!
Oh, whoa! Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I think that's
This is
good.
the Statue of Liberty. What?
And we could all
No.
have sort of a similar reason.
Spoilers.
We could have a similar reason if we were all in the same crew or ship together.
I think it was a looping distress signal, because I always think that turns out crazy.
Yeah, that's great. Let's just say that. I think this crew maybe has a different purpose and is sidetracked for this.
Okay.
Maybe we're a trading vessel. Maybe we were on a diplomatic mission, but this was seen as more important. What do we think?
I like diplomatic.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Maybe like not
like that a lot.
super high level, but
Yeah.
our job
This
is
was an auxiliary, let's say, an auxiliary contingent of people who were there to support negotiations with some other group. We're all members, I think, of the, I don't know. Let's call it the Milky Alliance.
Milky.
Yeah, that would be the operative word. Yeah, this is a galaxy reference, not a dairy reference.
I know.
Just in case anyone was wondering what was going on with
we are
milk.
united by our love of dairy.
We love milk.
Milky Way,
Slurp, slurp.
whatever.
So we're part of the Milky Alliance, and we are
Yeah.
going to help with negotiations that are just like need support. Do you think it has to
Yeah.
do with the fact that we're all kind of like from different places? Like,
I think
you
it
maybe
helps.
there's negotiations that's happening.
Yeah, that's part of why
Between-
I think we're all in this crew together, because we all had a role to play in this negotiation elsewhere. Yeah. Now the Milky Way is a spiral galaxy, so I feel like maybe it's the Spiral Alliance, because it wouldn't, not everyone would have like milk as a point of reference. So I'm just going to say Spiral Alliance so that we don't have to say milky all the time, because it is gross in the mouth.
Spiral Alliance.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe Anthony's character still
Yeah.
calls it.
Cassius still calls it
for
the
sure.
Milky Alliance accidentally.
Look, we all have growing pains here.
United by the Dairy Queen.
Atomic sorcery, that's a move.
That's
That's-
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Great. We have answered all of those questions. We have characters. Now, together, we're going to establish some more context for our characters. We've actually done some of these already. We're great. As a group,
We're great.
we are great. As a group, which role does each character take as part of the crew? So now we know we are a diplomatic crew of some sort, but we do need people to operate the ship and that sort of thing as well. What does turnaround do on the ship or in the diplomatic crew?
I think turnaround is a peacekeeper.
Okay.
Ooh, do you think that involves? There's two interpretations
Yeah.
of peacekeeper, right?
Is it
Either there's the
martial?
sort of like de-escalation, mediating between groups kind of thing, or there's peacekeeper euphemistically like a soldier.
No, I'm like a mediator.
Cool.
Okay.
Mhm.
Neat. I love that.
And then I don't know, what do I do on the ship? I think my character cooks on the ship.
Oh, we don't. Yeah, sure. I mean, you have a clear role on the diplomatic envoy, so that's that's good enough.
But I love that you also cook.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
great.
I
A little
think I
glimpse
cook.
into your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a clear idea of what Neon does?
Sure. I think so Neon was two people until recently. There was a biologist and a psychologist, and the two of them combined forces for this mission. Both of them were Neons, so Neon is not an unfamiliar name for either of them, nor is this an unusual process. Um, so I think that still a heterogeneity to it. You have those two skill sets and they're not fully incorporated, I think. But yeah, so I think Neon would serve various science capacities because between the two of them that formed Neon, there's a fair amount of coverage of the different sciences. As far as on the ship, I think I think Neon's just a chatty kind of person. Likes to get a little bit of info about people because there's a natural curiosity among science types, right?
Yeah,
Neon wants to know about you, and Neon is not afraid to ask.
I love it. That's great. Um, I see Cassius his official role as being like a counterpoint to turnaround. While turnaround is great at smoothing over differences, Cassius is kept on board for a highly strategic and aggressive, goal-oriented behavior that he brings to the diplomatic mission. I think that it turns out in a biological accident that one niche that humanity possesses is this sort of excess of sort of aggressive and agentic energy that is maybe not common among many species, and so often fill these sorts of niches. I think like role on the ship. I think in reality, Cassius is like highly cybernetically enhanced over the many years, which lends his psychology to be well suited to interfacing with especially older computing systems. So tends to kind of work on the sort of flying the ship, mechanics, keeping up the systems sort of vibe as well.
Cool. Sick.
One of the questions: why are your characters traveling together? How do they know each other? We've kind of answered that. We know what our purpose is. Do we want to elaborate any more on that?
I think we talked online before we started this on the outer net. Um, I think I think before any like long haul space mission, you try to make sure that there's compatibility amongst the crew, and so we all have had time to sort of get to know each other in a certain community context.
Yeah, I might even add to that that we might have been a. I would like it if we were like a diplomatic, uh, like yeah, we were a diplomatic group before this. That we've flown a couple
Yeah,
missions
you've
together.
traveled with half of Neon before.
Yeah, sure, yeah, I like that.
You ever have a friend who goes traveling and they come back and they have all these stories you've never heard before, and you're like, oh, interesting. You're kind of different than I thought you were.
That's
That's the
happened.
level of difference it is.
Okay.
It's like recognizable, but there's a little of something extra. There's
And
a little
Neon has,
spice.
of course, told us about this change
Oh,
with
for
their
sure.
openness. Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Okay. And how do your characters feel about their traveling companions?
What a question. What do we think?
So,
Mm,
Amanda, I'm feeling like, well, I'm proposing that maybe like Turnaround and Cassius have like equal and opposite roles when it comes to the diplomatic mission. That you might be very good at like smoothing over and mediating, which is like a very important leadership role. And Cassius's role is to like try to get what we've come for. So I can't tell whether that means that we could be sort of at odds with each other, or
maybe
familiarity.
it's like part of our thing that we do though. Like maybe it's
Yeah.
like our good cop, bad cop. Like maybe we've been partners for a while and this is just what we find works best with us is one of us kind of plays a little bit more of the hardball, the other person kind of works on smoothing out all the wrinkles.
Yeah.
So I think we probably have a pretty good relationship
Cool.
professionally. I also feel like there's probably a lot of similarities between you and I because I basically look just like a human, other than I have ears that I don't use to hear that are on one side of my head. So
Yeah.
we're very similar in appearance. But I do think that I think it's one of those things where we are different in terms of maybe our personalities a little bit in terms of how we approach situations because we do still come from like very different worlds.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I think my character like admires your differences.
Yeah, I think
So I don't think it's
I
like
think that's
aggressive
mutual.
or anything.
I think it's
Yeah.
like we've learned that like our brains work in completely different ways. That's what's useful, and we know that we like succeed well together, or at least that's how Cassius thinks about it.
Yeah, I
And-
think that that's how Turnaround also thinks about it. I think that they're also like, I like that we're different. Like, I feel like it just strengthens like our ability to work together. So
What do we
it's like a
bond over?
positive.
Can you hear music?
Yeah, I can
What
hear
a question.
music. I think I can hear music, but I think I typically like to feel music.
Okay,
Ooh,
cool.
hell yeah.
I wonder if we play music together.
Yeah, I think we could play music together.
It
I
feels
like
like
to
a
imagine
nice-
a lot of like bass and percussion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, weird. Okay. When Neon plays a wind instrument, part of Neon moves through it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think
Whoa.
there's a lot of Neon in the songs that we play together. Of course, we have a little, that's part of how we bonded. We have
Little
these
band.
jams,
Yeah.
really.
Cute.
You
Did
can
we have like
elect.
little jam sessions on our voyages? where
Yeah, I
we-
think you can elect to do this cryogenically. You can elect to move through travel in cryostasis, but since the longevity of a person isn't as much of a concern, you could choose to just be conscious throughout it and engage in that journey. And I think we've made the choice to be with each other present through this. And part of that is the music that we make together.
Yeah, 'cause
Which means we have
actually
a
like to
lot
hang
of
out.
time.
We have a
Yeah,
lot of time.
Like a
together, so we
lot of
probably-
time.
So if we've done this a few times, even if it was just like a couple missions, we
Mhm.
probably know each other very well.
Yes, I think that's fair to say.
That seems right. Okay.
Do we have like, are we like really close beyond it being work? Are there lines between us like being friends and being colleagues? Or do you guys feel like those lines are more blurred at this point? Or do they exist at all at this point? What do you guys think?
I guess my sense is that we probably have to be, in some sense, very close because we have spent an absolutely incomprehensible amount of time together. But I kind of like the idea that there's still, I don't know, at least for Cassius, I can see that the whole thing could still be professional. Like that, like is like things, parts of your personality start to seep in, of course, once you spend that much time together. But that there are still some things that are closed behind the metal box of professionalism.
Cool. Cool.
I also feel like once we get to our mission, it's like maybe like a switch kind of flips.
Okay, that's cool
Once
too.
we like arrive, it's like our demeanor kind of changes. Like when we're on the ship and we're like traveling, it's like a different vibe than when we're on the mission, the three of us together. We kind of turn it off, like a bit of our friendship.
Hmm.
But we're not like cold or anything to each other. We're just not. We wouldn't like hang out like we do. We wouldn't like hug each other maybe,
Right.
like we would when we're on the ship. Like
Okay.
we're not as close.
I see.
Because
Interesting.
we don't want it to be weird, right? Like I don't know
We
if
don't want
people
it to
would
be
think it was.
weird. Could be a little weird.
I don't know what our senior like reporting officers would think. Or how it would come
Interesting.
across when we're trying to negotiate, especially with people where, like, if we seem too close, I don't know. I feel like that could jeopardize our mission.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. All right. Should we move on to spaceship creation?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
What do you
let's make a
got?
spaceship.
Who owns the spaceship? Well, obviously the Spiral Alliance.
Yeah, definitely it's a Spiral Alliance craft. I think there's no question in that. We are not borrowing it, but we're as part of the Spiral Alliance, we are doing our duty.
Yeah. What did the interior and exterior of the ship look like? Are they cramped and homey or sleek and cold? I feel like it's a government ship, so it feels like a government building, at least like on the outside and inside. It's like a little cookie cutter. It's like quote unquote clean, but a little outdated. But that the inside has become entirely homey because we have lived in it for a long time. And so it's like, imagine like an office, like a cubicle office building that's like become like your grandma's living room.
That's cute.
That's really cute. So, like,
Yeah.
on the exterior, that's what it looks like. But when you get inside, you're just like, this is so chill and cozy in here.
Yeah. And there's like the remnants of like, obviously, a standard issue diplomatic vessel. But it's been customized. We've painted it over some of the long haul flights. Yeah. There's some doilies around. There's some
doilies?
some
There are
knickknacks here and
doilies.
there. We've even like put up some art that we've made on some of the
Ooh.
voyages.
Do we make art together? We sound like a
I
pretty
mean, we
fun
make
crew.
music together, so I think inherently yes. But maybe there's some art forms that some of us partake in that that not everyone does. And I think
feel
we'll
like
just leave that to explore, maybe.
If you're on
Yeah.
a long space voyage, it's probably good to have hobbies.
I think that sounds wise.
Yes.
You need to like keep your brain occupied.
Damn straight. That's what I always say. If you're on a long space voyage, keep that brain occupied.
That's one of the posters that we have up. That's like
Keep your brain occupied. For those life forms without brains, understand that this is a general principle, not in reference to brains in specific.
There's like just a bunch of fine print that's like or this or that or whatever you got. But we're just using brain as a general term.
Exactly.
Amazing.
All right, guys, what's the name of this spaceship?
Ooh. What do we think?
Well, I think there's two names for the spaceship. So I think there's
Oh.
a name that it has that's the official name that's on all the papers. And then I think there's the name that we gave our spaceship.
Well, what name did we give our spaceship, Amanda McKnight?
Oh, well, you're gonna ask me this question.
So maybe like the official name is like the Bridge 27 and all of the alliance.
And then our official
diplomatic-
name is something like the High Sea or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe we're poking fun at Cassius, and we call it the Milk Sea.
The Milk Sea. Oh my goodness. I like it. The Milk Sea.
The Milk Sea, our spaceship.
And
All right.
the official name is, what did you say? Bridge 27.
Yes.
Yeah, Bridge 27.
I love it.
That's good
Bridge
too.
27.
Okay. Now, time to get juicy. We gotta make a planet. So
Famously
here,
juicy thing to do.
all
Do we
juice
spell
I've
C
ever.
like the letter C or S-E-A?
Great
I don't
question.
know that we've ever written it down because it would never come up in like a log,
Okay.
right?
Sure. So just however I want to write it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Here's the questions for the planet. How long did you travel to arrive at the planet?
I think it wasn't far of a diversion from our route, like only a couple months.
Okay. So we were flying before that, perhaps, but we took a detour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's right,
For
yeah.
the beacon.
And this is part of why I think it's not such a big deal that we're coming, because it's already such a long haul voyage that it's okay that we need to attend to this. Now, granted, it's official policy of the Spiral Alliance, right? If there's a distress beacon, you go to it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What does each character first notice about the planet as you approach? Is the world one large ocean dotted with islands? Is the surface completely made of chrome? Whoa.
So there's a metal. There's a metal that is liquid near room temperature. Trying to remember what it is. Not mercury. I am not thinking of mercury.
That's all I could think of.
I'm gonna look it up, but I think this is there's like a liquid metal ocean. And then islands that are more conventional ecology, I think.
Wait,
The oceans are very warm because of, I feel like, volcanic activity, perhaps.
are you thinking of a bromine?
Yeah, I think so.
So wait, so the oceans are made of bromine? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Whoa. Bromine is like a dark orangey kind of color.
Is bromine what I was thinking of? I'm gonna keep looking, but
Yeah, keep looking.
You are
That's not
correct
it.
about that.
It says that it's liquid at room temperature, but that's according to the AI overview, so you probably want to review that.
Really appreciate you calling out the inaccuracy of that, because anytime I want really specific
Not
information, it
I mean,
does terrible mistakes.
sometimes it is right. I'm not saying
That's
it's
the
never
tragedy,
right,
though, is that
but
sometimes
it's just not reliable enough, because sometimes isn't every time. And I need it to be every time. Otherwise, how can I believe it? Any of the
I gotta
time.
use my human brain, as I always do, to look at the things.
So apparently there's two elements according to r/chemistry on Reddit. Someone is saying bromine is one of the two elements that are.
I was
liquid at
thinking
room
of
temperature.
gallium.
Oh.
So gallium's a
That's the second
soft
one.
silvery metal, and in its liquid state, it becomes a silvery white. I
Ooh.
believe its melting point is, it's about 30 degrees Celsius. So if you hold gallium in your hand,
It'll
it will
melt.
melt.
Wow.
So
Can
I
you
think
hold it
there's,
in your hand? Will we die?
I don't think it's not like mercury,
Toxic?
I don't think.
Okay.
Don't follow any of this as personal health advice. Consult a chemist.
Consult a chemist for help if you encounter gallium in the wild.
Which you won't.
You probably won't. Yeah. Gallium. Whoa. Yeah, this looks so cool.
So if you inhale it,
Wow.
it's probably toxic.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
So is it
But-
liquid?
But metallic gallium is not toxic.
Okay.
So there we go. Great news for
So
Cassius.
you could swim in it, but don't breathe it in.
Yeah. Don't swallow
Just
it.
don't inhale. I
Yeah.
never inhale.
Okay. I never inhale. I find it. All right. So gallium seas.
So it is liquid in the seas. It's warm enough.
Yeah, I think this planet is balmy.
Okay. And you were suggesting some islands.
Yeah, gallium seas with islands of something interesting. We don't have to dwell too much. Quartz islands, gallium seas and quartz islands.
Cool
Shit,
shit.
that's got to be the name of my prog rock album yet to be released. That's the name of one of our prog rock albums that we
That's for
release
sure.
after this adventure.
We're gonna
Am
be
I
writing
right?
it down. If we make it out of this, I don't know what's coming. As long as we can avoid the eye gore, we might be writing this down. We'll get
Might be
off.
writing this down.
Yeah, might be writing this down. I like the idea that we arrive and there's like a distress signal and we're like, gallium seas and quartz islands. I gotta write. We maybe have to write this down right now.
Maybe we actually did have, like you get the readout from the planet, and we did read out. Oh, interesting. It's
that sounds
like
nice.
this. I guess.
Weird.
I guess we'll might as well spend the next month on a little EP.
I think. Do you think there's something that gives us a sense of like danger right off the bat about this planet?
Ooh. I mean,
Like-
there's a distress beacon, so something bad happened here, right? I don't think we have that much info, is the challenge. I think we only know just enough to know.
But there's nothing about the ecology of the planet that made us go like, oh, uh-oh.
There could
We
be
were just
like a lot of like stuff floating in the atmosphere, a lot of
But
like debris.
we don't know what it is. Debris? Oh, yeah, that sounds
Possibly.
like it would be bad. Just debris in the atmosphere, but we don't know why. Like there's no
Yeah.
wreck or anything.
No, just like kind of like almost like a wall of like flying debris in orbit around the planet.
Ooh, junky. It's giving junk vibes. Okay.
But could be like, you know, like stone from a meteor
Could-
strike or an explosion of some sort or something like that.
I want to say parts of it are plastic, though.
Sure,
Yeah.
naturally
Is that okay?
occurring.
Little bit of plastic in there.
In fact, I think because hydrocarbons are essentially so closely related with life on Earth, like we do have just life forms that have a physiology reminiscent of certain plastic structures, right? We've got beings made of
Of
plastic,
plastic.
essentially.
Yeah. So the plastic that's in there could just be naturally occurring from the planet somehow, or it could be people. or
Right,
it
because we
could
do
be
have, there was sentient
manufactured
life
plastic.
here in
Mhm.
some sense.
Interesting.
I am going to derail us for a moment to say that while I was with my little English nephew in England, one of the three ways that he responded to a question was like a 70-year-old academic who doesn't want to necessarily correct you and get into all the reasons you're wrong. So you'd say something to him and he'd go, Okay, I think we've established our
like-
environment.
It was like he would want to disagree with you, but he
No,
would just...
not actually. That
Oh,
was just
okay.
one of the three things that he did.
Oh,
If he
just did it,
disagreed
like,
with you, he would say, not, and then
No,
the words that you said, like,
not.
not go to the park after brushing teeth. And if he agreed with you, he would say, yeah. And I was like, why are you saying yeah? And it's
And-
because his dad says, yeah.
yeah.
And otherwise, he'd be somewhere in between where he'd just say,
Mm.
Mm. He's the most adorable little child, too.
How
and
old is he?
Two.
Oh my
He's-
god.
Yeah.
What a great response.
Last
Anyway.
question about the planet.
Yeah.
What do you call the planet? And where does the name come from?
Oh, junk planet. I feel like we gotta call it from that.
Why is it called Junk Planet?
Because of the wall of stuff that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Seems a
Okay,
bit
yeah.
junky. I don't know. Does it have an official name, this planet?
I like Junk Planet, but yeah, well, I wonder what when the official like beacon came in, what does our old Spiral Alliance system call the planet? What's it named?
I think as the first spaceship to visit here, it gets
have
the
to
name of our
name it?
spaceship. So what did we say? We're
Oh,
Bridge 27.
27. Yeah.
So I think this is like 27 and then a bunch of numbers afterwards. But like this is the only planet so far that we visited that is named after our
Okay,
ship. So I think we're all very
Oh,
excited. We call it
that's pretty
27.
cool.
27.
So 27.
And some people do be calling it junk.
I
Some
like to
people do
imagine
be calling it junk.
that when we saw that junk wall, we were like, oh, it's kind of like a junk planet. Like someone said that, and then we were like,
Junk 27.
junk 27. Junk 27.
Junk 27. All right, well, get ready for the story of Junk 27 because we have answered all the questions in all of the pages that ask us questions. Kurt,
And
yes?
even better news.
Better news.
I know how to play the game.
Wow!
Hey!
He's done it.
And this time that we were coming up with stuff, you were like just double checking and going through to finalize.
If anybody is watching the feedback, they'll just see me going at the screen, reading rules for the last hour and a half. However, I have sent both Anthony and Amanda a link to the playingcards.io website.
Ooh, I was wondering if we were
Great.
going to have a playingcards.io.
Yeah, we are.
We got it.
We got it. Essentially, so
we really need
let
to
me.
get this playingcards.io sponsorship. That and Google Sheets, they need to call us. We should be working with them.
Auto Love Junction. That is lovely.
Junction. Oh my goodness, like Transformers. That's great. I love that.
So, if we were playing in person, we would have a spread of cards, and each turn we would roll a die
And we
that
write
would
on them.
ricochet. Yeah, we do. So you would write on the physical deck of cards, which is a badass move. Sam, you're cool as hell. I didn't tell Sam early enough that we were going to do this today, so Sam's probably not with us right now, but maybe on the VOD someday.
Sam's like, get a deck of cards and then just write
on
this.
that.
I was
And
like,
also,
whoa,
to
that's
determine
rebellious.
where you start, you just roll the die onto the cards, and where the die lands, that's where your expedition begins.
This is like a rock star design. This is like so. I feel so cool playing a game where
Yeah, Sam's what we would call a badass. That's what we would say.
It's very badass mechanics right here.
So thanks, Sam, for that.
Thanks, Sam.
Is every Sam I know in the TTRPG space kind of a badass? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so folks, we are going to begin by determining where we start. And since we cannot physically toss a die over the table, I've given us rows and columns. Would someone mind generating a random number between 1 and 5? Perhaps by rolling a digital D6. And if you roll a 6, roll again.
But we could have roll real dice.
Yes, we could roll real dice if you've got one.
Well, mine are a step away. I saw that there was dice when I came on to join you guys, and I was like, I should have got dice.
Then grab a die and roll it for us, Amanda.
Wait.
Let me grab it.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna show off that I rolled a 2, but I guess we'll wait for Amanda to
Oh,
get it.
Amanda want roll die.
Okay, roll a die.
Well, we need to roll a die again in the future.
We will.
Well,
Maybe.
then take the 2 because it was rolled. A roll's a roll, digital or otherwise. I'll grab a die, and then that way, if we want to roll in the future with the physical, we got options.
We got options.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Cool.
Great.
I'm very impressed with your ability to learn rules in the background. Good work. I saw
Well,
your
to
little
be
eyes
fair,
going, but
I had a great deal of time. And I knew that we were gonna like really chew on those questions and make some cool shit. The rest of it is basically just a game of there's a bunch of elements to it. It's a very cool system that I only just got really excited about because I just finished reading the rules. But Caro Assertions game, Exquisite Biome, you might recall we did that.
Yeah.
It's like an element of that, and then an element of our own story, and an element of mystery, what happened.
Okay.
Now it's really like sitting with me. I'm living in it. I'm hype. I can't wait. For those watching along at home, I will tell you we have made modifications based on the rules for a one-shot. Because this is a one-shot, we are going to be only going through one array, one tableau of cards. Normally, you would have an array of cards, 4x4, I think, and then eventually you find the ace, and you make a new set of cards. And once you've found all 4 aces, you've completed the series of journeys that make up your mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is a one-shot, we are doing a column of 5x5 is our grid of cards, all laid out across the table, 5 rows, 5 columns, 25 cards in total, and the aces are all there. Thanks, Rapala. You're the ace too. I'm gonna pin that though because appreciate it. Atomic Sorcery asks, how similar is this to Alone Among the Stars? And the answer is, I don't know. Because Alone Among the Stars is a solo role-playing game, and I only play solo role-playing games if they are really weird.
Kurt's got so many friends. He doesn't have time to do things by himself.
I love playing with friends, and my favorite part about RPGs is that everybody brings their own little brain candy. You know, you can get that. Alone Among the Stars, huge respect for the system, but I only know, I haven't played it, so I haven't, like the rules aren't fully there. I read it years ago.
I got these dice, which I think are quartz dice. I think I have quartz dice.
I see what we're saying. We're saying like the islands.
These are actually my dice for my G.I. Joe character for Diamond because I thought they looked like diamonds. But
My diamond.
also good for this. I
I'll
was
go
just
get
thinking about it.
I'll go get my gallium dice, yeah.
Oh yeah, perfect. Your gallium dice.
Great, just
Those
don't
supposed to be
hold them
hard
too
to
long.
handle
You
'cause
have
they
to
move
roll really
around
quick, yeah.
really fast.
Roll it into a cooler.
Yeah, Anthony's like, let me just get my ice glove that I have to hold the die with. Oh my goodness.
Beautiful.
And I also got my little dice tower, which I forgot that I had. I haven't used my dice tower in forever.
Ooh, whoa.
Yeah, isn't it cool? This is not sponsored, but Elderwood Academy, and you can, although I feel like there was a controversy a while ago because I feel like they took art from Elder Scrolls or something. I don't know about that. But
I don't know,
I know their
anything about
stuff
that.
is well made, and they were very nice with customer service when I accidentally got mine skronked on my way home from the convention because
Oh.
the car was
Wrong?
like a car was closed on it.
Skronked, Kurt.
I'm gonna have to look up
It's
that
a
word.
technical term.
Skronked. It
I
got
don't-
skronked.
I don't think anything's gonna happen when Kurt looks up this word.
I don't know. Will something come up? Does anyone else use the term skronked?
I love
Oh,
skronk.
it's only an Urban Dictionary definition someone wrote to
Uh-oh.
drag their friend.
Oh, well,
their
then-
friend skronk.
No, their friend Emily.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, so in other words, I have now created the term skronked. Is that what just happened? Although Anthony seemed to know what I was talking about.
I think it's clear.
I mean, it sounds violent.
Sounds well. Yeah, so it got messed up. The bottom came off, and then I was like, "Oh no!" And I messaged
When you get
them.
spronked, the bottom came off. Oh,
Well,
Poor Emily.
this was like looking rough. And I explained to them what happened, and then they were like, "Oh, we'll send you another one." And I was like, "That's so nice," because I broke it. You know, it was my
It's
fault,
very
but I didn't
sweet.
mean to.
Oh.
I mean,
Rapala
I
has
didn't.
made
I didn't
up an
close the door on it.
entirely separate word called scronted.
Uh-oh. Scronted.
Whoa, scronted is like getting turned, and skronked is like you've had too much. That's when you're past
Right.
the line.
Beginning of the
but
night,
yeah.
skronk. End of the night, skronk.
And then this comes out, and you can put your character sheet in it, your dice in it, and then there's like a thing on the top, and it's all magnetic, and you can
Whoa,
close this up. It just spins, so you can open up the dice tower. So it's pretty cool.
Sick.
I never use it, but I was like, I should use it.
Well, today's the day. What'd you roll?
I don't know. Should I roll? Wait,
Yes.
did you guys already roll?
Now,
Okay.
please.
We only have one.
Okay, I rolled a 5.
Great.
We
We
did
got a 2 and a
it.
5?
Yeah.
All right, let's say
can't
X
see
and
it,
Y,
but-
right? So Anthony is row 2, Amanda is row 5. We will start on.
Really hard to see the rating on this dice. There you go. 5.
How do I make this? This die is so silly. I'm not gonna use this die. It's like when you click on it, it wiggles, and I needed to count down. The worst. Oh my god, I can't even
You
get
need to
6.
count down? Why don't I just use the die to count down?
I like that's fine. You can do that. I am just mad at this die though.
That's
I
fine.
guess that's what the counter's
due.
for, right? That's
Yeah, the
why
counter,
we
yeah.
have a counter.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
okay.
gonna place it
Use
on
a
the spot.
counter.
And can I ask? Well, I'll just do it. Oh, interesting. Okay, Queen of Hearts. Is that where we want to start? Sure, why not? Okay, so essentially every card we reveal, we are going to explore either building a part of that ecosystem or having a scene.
Okay.
And we have drawn a card which will prompt a scene.
All right.
Locke is hitting us with the official definition, I think, of skronked, which is maybe a word.
It
But you-
is not. How do you spell it? I don't
Locke
believe it.
says skronked.
SKRONK.
SKRONKED. It's an adjective used to describe something that is raw, discordant, and experimental, particularly in the context of music. It can refer to a sound in an entire musical style. I mean it more like when something gets like
Huh.
busted,
It really
I
is
knew
a
what you
thing.
read.
but that's how I use it. So I'm.
I see. I spelled it with a C and then a K, and that didn't turn up any real results.
Ah, got you. Yeah, I always pictured it with 2 Ks, so I picture it like that, but I'm not using it correctly. So
Fair
now
enough.
I know. Next time something's raw, I'm just going to be like, that's really skronked.
Yeah.
Okay, so we
Technically.
have drawn a Queen of Hearts, and
Mhm.
that means we're going to get a trait scene. If the encountered card
Oh.
is a face card, we're going to find the corresponding prompt on the trait scene table and use it to describe an event that occurs with this trait. If we've already encountered this face card, we describe how the situation changes, escalates, or gains new context. And this one is quite open. It says the creature is in trouble. I'm imagining we touch down, our ship lands, and the plastic sand is expelled in all directions. And I think there's like some of it becomes molten as our retro boosters are sort of repelling us slowly to the surface. Not repel,
Yeah.
slowly bringing us
Lowering
to the
us,
surface.
yeah.
Slowly lowering us.
And so some of the plastic melts, some of the plastic sand is dispersed. And I think there's a creature who is kind of like partially wedged under the ship. I'm imagining this is a large creature. Does anybody have any thoughts offhand on what this might look like?
I'm wondering whether it maybe
Think it's
resembles.
squat.
Oh, it's squat.
I agree.
Yeah, I like it.
Like it's low down to the ground.
What if it's
Wide base.
What if it's quartz-like? So it's not actually completely obvious that it's not part of the terrain.
For sure. I think the autopilot that brought us down here would not have made a distinction.
I think it has horns on it, and they're all quartz horns. Like
Yeah.
it's covered in these like little spiky things that are all its horns.
So at first, we're not sure if that's the fused plastic of the sand or if it's part of the creature itself. And then I think one of us notices, oh, this is like a living being, and we need to liberate it from underneath our ship's foot. Who is that? I guess I said I have half biologist in me, right? So maybe Neon steps forward for a moment.
Maybe it seems appropriate, yeah.
I think when Neon speaks, all those swirling gaseous thoughts are translated into something that has a light that activates, sort of like a microphone detecting sound, and a very neutral sounding, pleasant voice, because again, this is to kind of have a communal language. So we hear Neon go, "I require assistance to remove this creature from underneath the ship." And then Neon like bends down. I think Neon's also quite squat, I want to say.
Okay.
Neon is also squat?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when Neon bends down, is it just like not much?
I think it's sort of like a large torso and then smaller limbs, because this would be a gaseous planet, right?
Little limbs. Okay.
Small limbs.
That's really cute. I'm picturing Neon looking really cute.
I think Neon is pretty cute.
Great.
Cassius locks in the helmet that sort of preserves the beautiful nitrogen-oxygen environment that he requires, and steps up. Of course. Show me the way. What do you need?
It is difficult to identify what is needed specifically, but this creature is trapped. And then Neon points to this, like, I want to say it's sort of turtle-looking in appearance, but with all these elaborate spikes, and the light just refracts through its quartz body.
How do you know it's alive?
It moves. And then as Neon says this, I think it moves very slowly, and that was the challenge in the first place. It's almost like you're watching a slow motion video of something as it ever so slowly tries to like move itself out from under Bridge 27.
Well, if it keeps moving like that, it might rip out the entire underside of the landing carriage. It might be difficult to get off this planet. I can take the ship up again, but we might injure the creature.
In a way that is both joking and serious, I think you're accustomed to this from Neon. Neon says, "I'm certain you have the physical strength to maneuver it." It's a bit of a little elbow, like a cheeky thing, but it's also, as all things Neon says are, not kidding. Also, like, Neon says, "Dialogue identified in human dictionary: heave ho. Would you like to be heave or ho?"
I was just going to use the blasters and pick it up again. Just launch the ship up a little bit.
Then grab it yourself, ho.
All right. maybe miscommunications like this happen somewhat frequently, as we are still dealing with various language, barriers. And Cassius slides in to the mostly defunct pilot's chair at the front of the cockpit, and just pushes ever so slightly on the thrust to lift the ship up off of the creature.
And it's enough, I think. Between that and the physical sort of hoist that we see Neon do, the creature, I would say, scurries away, but that's only what it would look like if we sped up the video footage of the event. It's a sort of slower movement and then sinking into the Gallium Sea.
Nice. As it shifts into the sea, the little pieces of plastic that are caught in the horny, textured exterior of the creature sort of start to float upon the gallium. And then we see little tiny mouths emerge from sea creatures in the gallium and eat up all the plastic, cleaning the perfectly smooth surface of the gallium as the creature slides in.
Perfect. Okay. Now we must move to one of the adjacent spaces and flip it up.
All right.
We
How do
will
we
also be
move?
lowering our
Just
counter
any?
down to 5. Yeah, any
Okay.
one of the adjacent spaces. And since I feel like I took the lead for that scene, why don't we have one of you sort of nominally have the reins here?
Okay.
Amanda,
wanna-
where would you like to move?
Me, I say let's move down. Let's move like this way here.
Ooh.
Can we do that? Is that
Yeah,
allowed?
perfect,
Can we go
perfect.
diagonally, or is it only orthogonal?
I think it's orthogonal, but
And then do
got
I
an
move our die?
ace. Yes, please do.
And then
We've
does this
got
go
an
down
ace of
technically to 4? We just imagine.
goes down to 5, actually. It
Oh.
started on 6. I just couldn't get it to roll a 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think in Sam's imagining of how we do this, it involves like a secondary site, and I thought we can just do it with this.
What's the number on the die for when you roll it?
Once it counts, so the initial roll of the die is just to determine physically where it lands. So
Okay.
the value doesn't matter. It's just
Oh.
where it appears on the tableau of cards.
Oh.
The die will count down every turn, and when it hits 1 or the next moment after, we make camp.
Okay.
So we'll have a little scene of us making camp.
So wait a second. So when I rolled the die, I really didn't need to roll the die at all then.
We did need you to roll the die because we can't physically toss the die amongst these rows and columns. So I made rows and columns so that we could sort of roll coordinates, if you will.
Oh, okay, got you. Oh,
Yeah.
so you needed 2 die rolls to make the coordinate.
Right. So that's why we
Gotcha.
took what Anthony rolled and what you
Oh.
rolled. And I said, okay, we start here.
That makes sense.
That's what I sound like.
Do we have to do a trait thing, or do we draw on the
Yeah,
cards?
do
Or
we-
is
Yeah,
there
so
anything
we've
like
we
that?
got
look
an
in the
8 of
book?
clubs. Yeah, in the book, we can see that an 8 is a cross symbol, and a club is a
this Game
landscape.
structure.
Okay.
Sorry?
Is this in game structure?
We're looking in page like 20, 21.
Oh, okay.
We have
This
an
is where the
encounter,
breakdown is.
essentially. When you
Yeah, yeah.
spend your turn on a card, you encounter the card's trait, and you write what you learn in one of its margins. So a card has 4 margins, so you could have up to 4 sort of things happen here.
So what would we have written on our last? Would we write anything on that card?
No, because it's a face card. So we'll only
Oh,
get an
gotcha.
encounter on a numbered card.
Oh, okay, cool. So
The face card is some kind of like event with a scene.
gotcha.
This is just you sort of observing the environment. You're having an encounter, and this is a landscape.
Right, because it's an 8.
Because it's a club.
'Cause
It
the
being
cloth
an
is the
8 means that
landscape.
it gets the symbol cross, and I forget why that matters.
There's a symbol that you put on it. It says you hand the card to the player on your right. This player checks the card's value for the symbol prompts, then draws a symbol near the center of the card that incorporates the prompts, leaving the margins of the card empty.
That is true, but I still don't know really exactly what the symbol do,
Why?
other than
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
I should say I'm now noticing that the trait scene also just gets a symbol of the choice, any kind of symbol drawn upon it.
Mhm.
But as far
We'll
as I can
see.
tell, this is relatively free form. So perhaps just any kind of description of a landscape that we see would be of value here. I see. So based on how the player to your quote unquote to your right modifies the card,
Mhm.
that would inform your interpretation. So perhaps we shall say, who's the
Oh,
player
okay.
to your right? Whatever. We'll say Anthony. Anthony,
So
imagine
Anthony would draw a little symbol
it says a cross.
across, but
So
like it's a modified version, right? You tweak it.
yeah,
Isn't that what it says? It says you draw the symbol, draw a symbol near the center of the card that incorporates the prompt, leaving the margins of the card empty.
right. Yes, that's
So
correct.
cross, so it just has to incorporate cross, whatever that means to Anthony.
Right.
Yeah.
So Anthony, if you were to draw on this card, let's just sort of do this out loud, both for the benefit of our audience who can't see our silly, janky little columns and rows, and because then I don't have to figure out a way for you to physically draw on this card. I could do it, but it would be a whole process. So
We need to go back to the dry erase boards. What game did we have dry erase boards for? That was a whole thing that we did once, remember? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we can just describe like what the symbol would look like.
yeah, Anthony, if you have the pen, what do you imagine?
So, wait, I just draw a cross though, right?
You draw a cross.
Okay.
But there's various
Different ways of
that-
drawing the cross. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have a very long horizontal line with just a little tiny vertical line crossing through.
Ooh, okay. So very
Great.
long this way, very little this way.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, that's cool.
I might be able to update the card image for us, so I will see what I can do.
For real?
Okay, cool.
Yeah. You know me. I'm a little extra.
Just a little.
Wild. Okay, and so
Tiny
now
bit.
you taking partly this symbol as
To
inspiration.
inform the landscape.
Now it's a landscape because it's a club, and so you'll now describe what we are.
Yes.
Okay.
And if we haven't filled all 4 margins of the card, something else happens later for subsequent encounters.
Yeah, that's true. But we won't worry too much
But
about that.
are we only filling in a margin of the card, one margin of the card when we land on it?
Yeah.
So you got to come back around before all 4 would be.
We won't be doing all 4.
No, I know, but I just want to understand the mechanic. It's just a technical question for myself. I know it's not relevant or maybe super interesting.
I just
but
wanted
that's
to
how
make
it
sure
works,
we were
right?
all on board. Yes, that's
Okay,
correct. Yeah.
cool.
To my understanding.
That's cool. I really like how you're altering the board as you like build it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That's very cool.
Oh, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, what color of pen did you use to make your long horizontal line?
Ooh, it was blue.
Great.
Blue. If this card, okay. So then we just have a landscape and we just describe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Describe the trait and write a summary of it. Okay.
Just use the idea of cross to inspire whatever you're about to share with us.
So I think this is a hill that we come across that looks like the way the quartz is laid into it, they look like little eyes. And so the cross is actually like the center of the eye in each of these little bits of quartz that are in this hill. So it literally looks like the hill is like staring at us. And at first we I don't know if I'm not really supposed to do a scene, but
you can describe more.
I'm going to describe a little more. I think at first when we see it, we actually think it's that creature when we landed here but it looks bigger. So it was a bit like, uh-oh. And then we realized, no, that's just a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made us a little bit uneasy in the sense that because the beings here are so closely tied to like the landscape, it's hard to differentiate between what is landscape, like what is flora and what is fauna.
Yeah. How sure are we that it's not alive?
Alive.
How sure are we?
I mean, this isn't my area of expertise.
Okay.
So I would say, like, turnaround is like, she's like 80% sure that it's not alive,
Nice. Okay.
but it's not her area of expertise. So I don't know.
Cool.
I think we just are kind of like, yeah, it's probably not alive.
Fair enough.
Oh my gosh. So my dehumidifier is full and I have to empty it. And it took this moment to go off. And I was like,
Mwah!
I don't
How
know if you guys
sure
heard
are
it
you?
beeping. How sure are you?
Okay. All right. So then that is the end of that turn, yeah?
Right. So, and then we would write a
Yeah.
little description in the margin that was like, I don't know, the hills have eyes.
I
Something like that.
am also updating our Queen of Hearts to reflect what we saw.
Cool.
So I'm going to do that while Anthony moves to an adjacent spot.
Okay.
And if you get an ace, something different than what we've seen will happen.
Okay. I'm
Ooh,
going
atomic
to
sorcery. I
go
like
left.
this. A tiger's eye marble in the courts. Ooh. Cyclopean hill. I like that.
I'm going to the left, which takes us to
Okay.
the King of Spades over here, which is going to be another
Ooh.
trait
card.
scene. Okay.
Trait scene. It's
So,
gonna be a trait
Say
scene.
that your trait scene.
Okay. So King of Spades, right? That's what I said?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
King of Spades.
King of Spades says the vestige contradicts an assumption. Whoa.
Oh, dang. The vestige, I guess, is a leftover of our the society that we're here to help.
Yeah,
Right.
That's right. Okay, interesting. The vestige contradicts an assumption. What assumptions do we have about this place?
Could be about the age of the distress signal.
Yeah.
Could be about many things. I'm just
No,
throwing something out there.
that is a good one. That's a good one. But okay, the thought I was having just before that, as we came into this planet, we of course saw the debris in the atmosphere caught in orbit, and as especially turnaround identified, it was an awful lot of plastic pieces, and that got us to thinking, junk. But we have come across what we are almost 100% sure is a structure. This structure's walls are made of what we would describe as paper, attached to long, strong rods of obsidian-like stone that emerge from the quartz hillside here. We have these like large obsidian supports with webbing of paper sort of attached between them, creating some sort of shelter. Inside, as we sort of reach out and the one side of the structure rolls back, we see inside a paper box about 9 feet long, 6 feet across. The only thing in the center of this structure. Cassius looks back to the two of you. Anybody got any idea what this is?
Cellulose based. Unusual for a planet with this sort of physiology.
Yeah, it does feel weird. Turn around, you alright if we open this up?
I feel like we should maybe run some tests on it. We don't know what's inside. Being on another planet, I mean, it could be toxic.
That's true. I'll run a composition scan. And Cassius quickly goes out and scans the interior of the box, looking for what are the makeups of the contents inside. Interesting.
What?
It's all hydrocarbons.
Unusual. Once more.
Thought the creatures here were made of rock, litho organic or whatever it's called. But it doesn't appear to be harmful. Do I have authorization to open it up?
I think there's a sort of light of a different color, like a loading kind of light that you can see with neon, and neon says, "No authorization is required amongst this crew. There is no hierarchical structure."
Was perhaps a turn of phrase, Neon. Y'all all right if I slap this thing open?
I think Cassius is just asking how you feel about it, Neon.
Curious.
Curious. Okay. Well, I think that we should all put on our safety equipment first, just in case. And then I think you can open it. But I'm going to stand a few feet back. I think that Neon, you and I should stand a few feet back just in case.
As
I
you
would
wish.
like to stand close up because I would like to witness how strange a scenario. I am
Oh,
wearing
okay.
PPP always, and then I think we see like a spin around like this. I think because Neon's got these little legs, it's sort of like this little sort of spin all the way around.
Okay. Well, I respect your choices. And I think
I respect your choices as well.
Thank you. Turnaround is going to take a few steps back, and she is decked out fully in her safety equipment, and she's wearing double goggles, I think. Extra safe.
Cassius just bangs on the helmet that he's worn since we left the ship. I'm already secured too. All right.
Okay.
Neon, I bet if you just touch that corner right there, the paper will pull back or whatever, just like the door. You want to do it? And sure enough, as you touch it, the paper sort of like retracts as if it's repelling away from you. And the top of the box just sort of like snaps backwards, revealing the contents inside, which at first looks like a whole load of plastic tubing before it becomes clear it is an almost squid-like creature composed entirely of plastic. Intricate organic forms formed from the plastic hydrocarbons, different textures of plastic, some gauzy like plastic wrap, some hard and brittle, all sort of beautifully and meticulously nested into each other. It strikes us as a tomb, a resting place. And the creatures here, or perhaps the sentients, and the debris in the atmosphere, organic?
Ooh. Yep. Sick.
Is the squid, is it alive?
It's not moving.
Oh, okay, so it's just like a corpse.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
then how are they in their own atmosphere?
That's the question we're left with as we stand staring at this place.
And who sent this distress signal? What's that about?
A good question.
Okay.
Which I guess brings us to
the next move.
the next move. Yeah. I have updated the King of Spades, but I should have asked someone else what to do with it. Let's go down. Ace of Hearts, and ace means we get an
Ooh.
insight into this mystery, which seems perfectly timed because I think we just found something out ourselves. So, let me mess with my windows here.
Ooh, and aces do different things, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. So an ace, I have drawn a red ace, a red heart.
Gotta go to page 28.
That's right, yeah.
Discover the ace.
So we are on a 3 remaining with the die, but that doesn't matter. Apparently we would just roll. Amanda, would you roll for us?
I got 4.
What has changed since the species disappeared?
Okay.
Okay.
That seems cool.
So we're going to answer 3 questions as a group.
Oh,
One is, what is the ace's trait? Unlike the other cards, the ace's trait type does not need to match its suit. So,
so the traits are landscapes,
landscapes,
vestiges, creatures, and plants.
right. In my mind, I feel like this relates to what we just discovered.
Mm-hmm. So maybe more vestige.
Vestige, yeah, let's say vestige. How does this trait answer the key question, which in this case is what has changed since the species disappeared? I think we run a quick maybe spectrogram of the debris, and we realize that it would have been emitted since the sending of this looping distress signal. So the debris in the atmosphere followed the distress signal. It was not present at the time it was sent.
So that could be a result of whatever the distress signal was about.
Yes, a consequence.
Oh.
And then have we encountered any other traits that relate to the key question?
Did we fly through it?
Yes, we did.
We had to fly through it.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what we just saw relates to this directly. I think that's easy enough. We're supposed to pass the card to the player who landed on the ace. That's me. And I'm to write a summary of the trait on the ace and draw a symbol or picture that represents the trait. I think I'll just do a bunch of little particles.
Okay.
Dots all over the place in a circle. Cool. So we are going to keep going in search of other aces. This is a one-shot, so don't worry about the protocols that follow.
Okay.
We're just going to keep going on this one elaborate journey.
Which brings us back to Amanda.
Now, if we're trying to be strategic about this, I would recommend hitting sort of snake style the cards that we can. But we can at any point call an end to this. We don't have to strictly hit all 4 aces.
Right.
And in fact,
you're saying I should go.
However, since we don't need to hit all 4 aces, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to like put that back in my mouth. I never said it.
I kind of want to go to like the bottom.
Please do.
I know it's not the most.
Yeah, no. I think go to the bottom. Have a great time down there.
Yeah.
Don't.
I mean, we
quote
can
that
also
out of context.
we can also go back over cards and it'll still add to the story because
that's exactly right. So I don't think we should worry about finding all aces. As soon as I said it, I went, oh wait, but
the aces are very cool. So if we find another ace, like I wouldn't be mad about it.
Perfect.
Because that was pretty sick.
Ooh, we've
it's
uncovered
very big for world establishing.
A 10 of hearts.
10 of hearts. So let me take a look at the 10 of hearts.
Hearts are creatures.
Okay.
Ooh.
And 10, you got to do an arrow.
That's right. Am I to your right? Is that how this works?
Sure.
You are. So
I think so. So you will need to tell us what how you would interpret that arrow, what you would do on the card.
But if you draw it, then Kurt will have to do it, and then if Kurt draws it, I'll have to do it. So there's a potential that someone else might have to draw a symbol.
Yeah. I think
and by draw a symbol, I mean describe a symbol to the audience.
Yes, I'm just doing it because I'm the one who has the most experience and familiarity with image editing software and playingcards.io, not because I'm Mr. Man who gets to do all the things.
Oh my god, Atomic Sorcery. Just absolutely killing it in the comments. Atomic Sorcery suggests that the arrow should be drawn through the hearts. And I really, really like that. So I will draw a black arrow that goes into one of the hearts and out the other side.
That's a very cool suggestion. I like that. Yeah, okay, so it goes in and out. And it's my turn. So now I will describe this creature.
Yes.
I think this is a creature that is basically melted plastic.
Melted plastic.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's still alive.
Okay.
But this was not the state it was always in. And we can tell because of the sound that it seems to emit, which just doesn't seem pleasant. It's like something that can't quite breathe.
Is it on land?
Every time it's on land. And every time it takes a breath, I think it kind of sounds like it might not breathe again, but then it just keeps going. And it's kind of sliding along, kind of slug-like. But I think it used to be a fish somehow, and now
Okay.
it's on land. I think it
Cool.
has like gills, but they're like melted together, which is also part of what's making it hard for it to breathe. But it also isn't used to breathing on land. So it's almost like it's in this transformative state that we're seeing it. Or is it dead? I'm not sure. And it's really slimy. It's kind of like a bone white color.
Hmm.
Cool.
Very good. Turn around. Do you think these creatures were driven out of the sea? This one seems lost.
I think something happened here that has changed everything we're seeing now. But how could that be possible? That something that big could have happened in the amount of time. How long has this signal been going for? Because I thought the beacon wasn't that old.
Perhaps it's hard to say. It's a rather empty part of space.
Do you think that the sea was always gallium?
Cassius looks down at the fish slug gasping its way across the beach. Perhaps not. Perhaps not. Let's keep going.
Turn around, scratches behind her ears, and says, yeah.
I think we hear a kind of morning dirge, MOURNING, from the instrument that Neon plays.
Of it. Are we about to reach one? Are we reaching one now?
So we started on 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, we'll reach one now, but we'll resolve one and then we'll have the camp scene.
Okay, so I should move first. Okay, I'm gonna take us left and reveal a 5 of clubs and lose the dice. I don't know what happened. Okay, bye. Oh, it's down there
Bye.
somewhere. Very naturally, I flipped
Don't
over the
did you
card and
just
put it
dro- did
on
you
top
drop
of the dice.
Oh,
Playingcards.io
did
doesn't
the
wholly
die go?
understand dice.
in real life, you'd never find that die again under a card.
Impossible. All right, so I have flipped a 5 of clubs. I'm going to pass that to Kurt to draw something on it.
Okay.
You should draw a rectangle.
Oh, and then what did we write on 10?
Anthony wanted an arrow.
No, but we got to
through a
write on the
heart.
column. We got to write a little blurb. How would we describe that? Melted plastic sea slug?
Or like, yeah.
Or
Melted,
a horrifying evolution of the sea slug? I don't know.
melted sea slug escapes changing ocean.
Yeesh.
That's a headline for sure. Melted sea slug escapes changing
Changing
ocean.
More at 10!
Oh my gosh. The poor spilled Colgate? That's what sounds
So that seems like actually a cruel way of describing the sea slug. I'm sorry.
that poor sea slug. Like
The
a
rectangle.
melted tube of toothpaste.
The rectangle is going to go over one of the club symbols.
See that.
5 has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to go over here, over one of them at the top hand corner.
Sorry, the
And it
rectangle's
will-
like around it?
Yeah, and it will be in gold.
Okay.
Ooh,
Cool.
gold rectangle.
Gold rectangle, and then I should have looked at what the heck. What's it called again? A landscape. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I really like this symbol element, actually. I feel like it adds a lot to the game. Can I just say?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you should say. I'm sure Sam will be pleased to hear it.
Yeah, it's a really cool element. And now I'm thinking if we didn't do symbols, this would be very different. Oh my gosh, look at all those little dots.
We come up over the one of the hills on this sort of sizable island that we have landed on. And as we do, we come out into sort of a sloping plain that sort of drops down in front of us. And for the first time, we see sizable flora, or at least what we assume is such. A massive tree, for lack of a better term, dominates the center of this plain. It is black in color, as is common of the fauna on many planets to absorb the maximum amount of solar radiation. And it is composed partly of grown shards of black crystal that seem to support structurally the creature, while also the fauna will also, there are like plasticky blackened like wings that extend from the crystal, and flicker in the breeze, like plastic, like garbage bags, basically torn garbage bags. But the most striking thing is that this massive tree is not alone, but around it has been built a golden crystal box. So the edges of this box have been built of gold, and there's this like clear quartz box surrounding this massive tree, seemingly built to protect it, kind of like a cage or an observation area. And the rest of this plain is mostly flat, with just sort of tufts here and there of plasticky shrubs and grasses.
Cool. Sick. Yeah. Love that.
I think that's it.
Yeah. So I'll resolve our camp scene, I guess. Since we've
Yeah.
reached
Alright.
one, we are now going to have a little camp scene. And I guess this is my turn. So there's some questions. Where do you set up camp? I think we set it up under the big tree, right? We've got our
Mhm.
ship near enough by, but I think there's something important about being part of a space when you enter it. So we set up camp beneath the tree. Which trait during this leg of the journey was most interesting to each character? Neon is still thinking about the slugfish, and the song plays through Neon's mind as it exists.
Cassius is still trying to put together the vestiges, the timing of the distress beacon going out before the arrival of these things in the atmosphere doesn't make sense. He's trying to piece it together.
Yeah, I think Turnaround's thinking about the same thing. Turnaround's thinking about just how that squid got into the box even, and what that being's last moments were like.
Gotcha. And then we're asked, what does each character do during their arrest?
I sleep.
I think there's something that membranes do, sort of disperse themselves. If the environment isn't so windy that parts would be swept away, I think they'll sort of let themselves out into the environment. And then once they've had a chance to sort of, it's almost like sitting down and letting yourself relax. There's an element of just dispersion, like taking a deep breath. And then once that time has passed, it all gets absorbed back within the membrane. So I think we see that here.
Nice. That's cool. Cassius has long ago biohacked away the need for sleep, and so he beats the drums that he plays on the ship as the morning comes. And if I could, I just have this image of us camping inside the crystal glass box that surrounds the tree.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining, like, as our rest is coming to an end, a rain of gallium, like, striking against the glass box, and Cassius watching the gallium, because it's so dense, so heavy, it drains off the landscape at lightning speeds. So all at once there's this like storm and pools, and then in moments it shrinks off the landscape and is gone.
Sick.
That's really cool.
Great. I'll then roll the die because it's got a little question for us. I rolled a 4, which is a deeper understanding, little camp scene. Maybe, I don't know what your characters pull out of this that would correspond to that, but I think for Neon, when you pull back those particles that are yourself, you're going to get some that aren't. And maybe there's a sense of connection now with this place. And that's why they do this. Hard to describe exactly what's taken back from it, but you've seen this before with the Neon you traveled with earlier. And I think in the morning, maybe, if indeed an overnight happened, I'm not sure how solar cycles work on this planet, but Neon speaks and says, "It is a good place. It is a place that has been home and is still home to others. Yes, an interesting place." Turn around, and it's quite abrupt, and you feel maybe like the hand of the exosuit on your shoulder. Turn around.
Yes.
Of what did you dream? I understand dreams are informative.
I had a dream that I was trapped in a box.
I don't think Neon laughs, but Neon does find things funny, and you can tell that Neon is laughing at that.
It wasn't funny. It was very scary. Please, Neon.
Was it like this? Neon asks and gestures to the box
that we are in.
No. It was a much more confined space. I didn't have enough room. I couldn't breathe.
Then breathe now. You wake. But that's not said rudely, I think. You can see that Neon is also
breathing.
Neon, can you feel it in the air?
I am the air.
The sentients, the signal. Are they still breathing there out there somewhere?
I cannot know. The air has not history, only presence. I take it with me. I will tell you if things change. Thank you for asking. Cool. All right, to Amanda. Amanda, you must pick a direction.
Let's go up.
Let's go up.
Boom.
Up we go.
7 of spades.
Ooh,
7 of spades.
So the 7 of spades is
curved lines.
Mm-hmm.
And vestige.
Vestige. Ooh.
So it's back to me to draw some curved lines, yeah?
Yeah, so tell me about them lines and I'll make them manifest.
Today I draw waves. Like
Waves?
a choppy sea, yeah.
Ooh.
What color do you draw them in?
I draw them in gray.
Cool.
I think that we find garments.
Ooh.
And that's what we think they are anyways. There's holes and buttons and things on them.
What kind of material are they made out of?
I think they're made out of like a foam kind of material.
Okay.
It's light, but it's thick.
Okay.
That's cool. That's so cool.
And I think there are like markings, like designs on the garments, like patterns.
Oh, interesting.
So they look like stylized.
Neon, do you understand any of this? Is this a known script?
Not known to me. Or to other parts of me. No. Unfamiliar.
Hmm.
It reminds me. It reminds me of a shirt I saw someone wearing once. Hmm.
Did it also have 6 armholes?
I don't remember. I just remember seeing someone, I think, on my planet. We get a lot of people that come through. It just feels familiar.
Are you saying that maybe they had contact?
I don't know. We're the first ones that came to this planet. How could that be possible?
That's what I'm thinking.
That doesn't make any sense.
Unless these are pioneers. Maybe they came to this place.
Without it being in the records?
Yeah. All sorts of strange folk get strange ideas, head out to the outskirts, find their own place.
People have talked about it before. I've just never thought I'd see it.
Who's to say?
Maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe I haven't seen it before.
Probably.
Neon comes down from, I think, a sort of bluff that they were looking out over and says, "It does not take a strange person to have a strange idea. We shall keep our eyes open."
That's wise. As always, Neon.
Too kind. Cool. Sick. That was Anthony's turn?
That was Amanda's.
Amanda's turn.
So
Cool.
now mine. And I'm going to take us left to the 2 of diamonds.
The
Like
2 of
diamonds.
diamonds.
The Tool of Dive.
So Kurt must draw a circle,
Okay.
and then I will interpret it as a plant.
It is a solid dot of green in the center of, like a teal color in the center of the card, smack dab in the center.
Okay. Cool.
Dots as symbols is like so, you could do so much with that. And all it is a dot. I'm just thinking,
It's good to be thinking.
what's wrong with our brains? Are we crazy? Or is this normal? Because when you said a teal dot, I just thought about how simple that is, and yet how many ideas I had from teal dots.
Well, that's how the game works, right? It's deceptively simple. Oh, here's your symbol, place it.
Yeah.
But we love to find meanings in things as humans.
Especially symbols.
Yeah,
Yeah. When you call something a symbol, that's also like really powerful.
I agree.
Anyways.
We're walking under a ledge, sort of like a low cliff, as we head up towards the top of this escarpment. And as we're walking, Cassius is looking up, wondering about the rain. We're not sure what would happen to our bodies if the rain comes down. Seems like having metal rain probably is a bit of a problem. So he's worried about it when something does drop from above. right into the palm of his hand in his suit. He looks down. Which of you did this? Is this one of your jokes, Neon? I never get your jokes. And Cassius gestures at the small blue fruit that sits in the palm of his hand. And for if either of you are familiar with earth fauna, it's a blueberry.
Neon's light turns blue, which is mostly a coincidence. Blue is a color of consideration. Neon speaks. I make no jest.
Well, I know what a blueberry is, but I haven't had any blueberries on me.
I don't think we have any back on the Milky.
It's not easy to come across. Otherwise, I would cook with blueberry. They're delicious. Where did you find it?
It just
don't understand.
fell on me.
It fell on you.
Just came to me from up there.
From where?
Cassius looks to the ridge above, and we see some soft green leaves peeking out above the edge of the escarpment. And we rush up to investigate, climbing and scrabbling our way to the top of the cliff.
I think Turnaround's gonna walk around to go up the cliff.
Okay, no scrabbling for you.
No. And immediately is quick to like get out from under the where it fell. A little bit worried about what could be on these blueberries, if they're real blueberries.
It is the strangest thing. In the top of the ridge, there's just a collection of sort of soil and small debris, mostly plastic, but it really does have the look of sort of a deep, rich black soil, sort of more terran variety. And growing out of it, 3 very unhealthy but struggling and surviving blueberry plants.
Wow.
The rest of the landscape, the same hydrocarbon plastic fauna spread across it. And I just imagine the 3 of us silhouetted on the cliff, staring down at these 3 plants in confusion.
Cool.
It adds to the theory that they were settlers. Otherwise, how would blueberries get here?
You make a good point, but it strains the imagination.
It's at this point that Neon lands. It was a big jump up to the cliff, but Neon's very light and so moves slowly through jumps.
What do you make of it?
I can't make anything at all.
The atmosphere is not that hostile, and so for a moment the visor on Cassius's helmet lifts up, and he throws the blueberry up into the air, and with the slightly sort of lower gravity here, it sort of drifts down, and he catches it in his mouth. It's sweet. It's delicious. Tastes like home. I think that's the end of our scene.
Great. I guess that brings it to me.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'll go down and get an ace of diamonds.
We found another ace.
I found another ace. It is a red ace once more. I will do a little roll of our die. I got a 2, but I guess before we do that, we have to resolve the questions that the ace asks us. Okay, the 2 is, what about the planet or species seems familiar?
Whoa, that's crazy.
That is wild.
That's happened twice too. I feel like our last ace was also like perfectly timed.
I love when a prompt game does that.
Wow.
Just
when it actually works magic. when the
And you're
creator,
like, how is that possible? How did they know?
them
But is it would it
TTRPG
all?
creators, doing little deals with the devil, I'm sure.
I think so because that seems very convenient, doesn't it?
It is also worth noting that diamonds are plants, so the trait of this just happens to align as well. Well, that's kind of wacky.
What? That's super wacky. But is it like, would this happen every time and it's not like, it's that, when stuff like this happens in games, I'm like, is this just a random coincidence? Or is this like, the game is so well made that no matter what you do, you're going to find things that are just similar because of how the game is designed?
I have been recently watching someone play a solo journaling playthrough of one of my games, and things have come up that have been serendipitous, but that I did intend to be possible. You know, like the
Right.
cards still need to play nice, but
Yeah.
like, you know, divots were made in the environment for the marble to roll and settle
Roll
into,
on.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
The second question here is, how does this trait answer the key question? Well, I think it's pretty clear. These are Terran settlers who have come here. Why, we don't know, but we know that they came here and they were here enough to have at least made some impact on the local environment, to have done some agriculture. Have you encountered any other traits that relate to the key question, which, to remind us, was what about the planet or species seems familiar?
I mean, obviously, the blueberry,
The clothes,
the
potentially.
clothes.
The
Yeah.
clothes, yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I landed on the ace, which means I write a summary of the trait on the ace and draw a symbol or picture that represents the trait. I mean, I think that's just going to be an actual picture of a blueberry. So now we move on.
Okay. Which brings it to Amanda's turn again.
Right. So wait, we're on the ace of diamonds.
Yeah, I just moved the die so I can snag a
Oh,
picture.
sorry. Yeah,
Little
yeah.
screen
Do something.
cap.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
So you
already
can do
done
your
it.
blueberry.
We're
Oh,
good.
okay. Okay, you're good. So you can put
Yeah.
your blueberry card there.
Yes, I will do so. But I've already gotten the image.
Well, I can only go here. Well, I guess I could go back.
You can go
You
back.
could, yeah, but
Nah,
yeah.
that's not as fun.
Nah.
Nah.
Not go
Okay.
back. Sorry, that's my
Not go
nephew.
back to a space. So that is a circle
Yes.
vestige.
Circle vestige.
Circle.
Circle vestige. I am going to cheat and draw 3 circles intertwined like a chain, connecting one of the spades to the other.
Cool. Thank you. I will do that for you.
Now Amanda has to interpret this as a vestige. And while she's thinking, I will show y'all the grid of cards that stands right now. Got our little teal dot, our waves, our golden structure around the club.
I think we find a chain that is through a house. We think it's a house. It's a structure. It has things in it that give the impression of a house. There seems to be an entry area. There seems to be the runes of like some kind of sleeping space. And there is just a bunch of, there's like a chain that's almost running through it. Like it's been launched through. It's quite thick and heavy. And it just runs from one end through the house to the other end. It's not a very big house. It's like, I don't know, size of this room, maybe. It's pretty small. But it feels like a living space. And clearly, it's not clear, I guess, how the chain got there, but it's like perfectly through the house. And it's broken at the ends that where the house begins.
Hmm. What's the chain
And
made
there's-
out of?
The chain is made out of titanium.
Hmm.
And it's not, there's no like people. We don't see any remnants of people.
Okay.
No
Or any other
bodies.
being.
No.
Maybe just a silent moment as we stand in the house. Just give a little kick to the chain.
Yeah. I think it's really just like stuck right through.
Okay.
It's big too, like this.
Well,
Just FYI. Yeah, it's a really big chain. Like, think of like the chain you'd see on like a big ship. Like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
okay. Shall I take us to our next spot?
Sure. And we can write on the card an impaled home.
An impaled home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can do that too.
I found an ace.
Whoa, baby.
Nice.
Ace of
An
clubs.
ace. The ace of clubs. Cool.
Wait, so I have to roll a die, right? Works.
Yes, that's correct. Good brain.
I rolled a 6,
Oh, yeah.
which is not an acceptable roll, is it? No, it is. Okay. Okay. So black has to do with the past for an ace, and the question that it's asking is what was destroyed. And then we'll answer these questions as a group. What is the
Wow.
ace's
What was
trait?
destroyed?
It's kind of still lines up, you know?
It does line up. We just went through a place that seemed like it was kind of wrecked.
That's nuts. Okay. What is the ace's trait? Unlike other cards, the ace's trait type does not need to match its suit. Okay. So I'm gonna say that house we're standing in is not the only house here. In fact, as we keep moving, we see many more. A whole village here on the top of this ridge, and each one of them bears the signs of something being shot right through it. Many of them with remnants of these chains, but only on the inside of the structures. Each of them destroyed. How does this trait answer the key question? What was destroyed? Well, I suppose it's fairly clear. We at least know this village was destroyed. And here and there we see signs of perhaps inhabitants of these structures. So there's like remains of like plastic like tentacles here and there in the homes. And then it asks us if you've encountered any other traits that relate to the key question. Well, certainly the chain that we've just encountered.
Certainly the chain.
The creatures that lived here bore some sort of terrible disaster. something purposefully destroyed their homes, their structures.
What? I don't know if we're there yet, but you got to decide what goes on this ace.
Oh, okay. Do I do like what I write? Is that what you mean? Or did I just draw symbol?
I think both.
Oh, okay, okay. I am going to draw like a triangular home split in two, torn at the edges.
Is there color you want this to be in, or just black?
Let's do it in red.
Cool.
Very cool. Now it's my wait. No, it's not my.
Now it's Kurt's turn.
Right. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
When he's done.
Well, perhaps one of you would draw a card for me as I make this triangle.
I'm gonna say that you want to go up to a new card.
I sure do. Let's say.
Yeah. Okay. So it's 2 of clubs.
2 of clubs.
Okay, what does that give us?
So a 2 is a circle. We've done a bunch of circles.
Love to see it.
And clubs will be landscapes.
Landscape.
And I think this means it's
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah,
Amanda's
that is
turn?
fun.
To draw it.
Ah, yes, right. Has that even happened yet?
Has not.
Whoa, crazy. Kurt's gotten all the special cards. Camps and aces.
I'm special.
He's so special. Our specialist little boy.
That's me.
I'm gonna draw a circle with
start.
2 dots in the center. The dots are black and the circle is orange.
Okay. Interesting.
And you need to describe, what did we say? Clubs?
Landscape.
Is that what it? Clubs landscape. Okay.
Landscape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
He's
I
all about
think
dem landscapes.
the circle is black and the dots are orange, or vice versa?
No, I think you got it right.
The circle is orange, the dots
Oh,
are black.
you got it wrong. Sorry.
Circle is orange, dots are black. Okay. I think we see so in the same way that we've seen trees that kind of flutter with those hydrocarbon bags in the breeze, I think here we see balloon-like structures floating above the landscape. So I think coming out of the sea is a series of these large black orbs and these small, large orange orbs. One more time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the outer circle is orange. The dots inside
The outer circle is orange. Okay, great. Glad I asked. So yeah, we see these big orange. It's almost a bridge made of these structures that are floating, I think, on top of the Gallium Sea. So we see these sort of stepping. I don't think they're stepping stones that were created, but it's a I want to say a net of sorts. A sandbar might be analogous, or a pontoon bridge. That would be the closest thing that we have on Earth, a pontoon bridge. But this is a series of big sort of orbs that are woven betwixt each other. Whether this is a naturally occurring thing or something that has washed ashore from the dead plants over the years or something is hard to say without knowing more about the biology of the space. And I think each one, there's a sort of root structure that has hooked into the other pieces to make this a continuous bridge that one can walk across. And that connects us, I think, to another island that we have not visited yet.
Ooh, cool. I love it.
What's the island?
What's the island?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an island. I don't know that from here there's sure, let's say there's a mountainous sort of outcropping on the island. The quartz comes to a crested peak at some point on it.
Cool. Maybe that's where the distress signal's coming from.
Yes, let's say it is.
Ooh, okay. Then Amanda, it's your turn. Take us there.
Oh.
I think. Is that how it works? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Oh man. I just put pressure on myself.
Well, cards have to
Let's go
agree with
up.
you.
Let's go up. Okay, so it's the 9 of spades.
Okay.
Spades.
Spades is going to be a vestige. So that's
Half circle vestige.
half circle vestige. I get to
That
draw
kind
it.
of fits.
You do. I
I
hope no one
Right.
feels too cheated out of the drawing of it.
I like verbal drawing. Verbal drawing is fun.
Verbal drawing is fun.
I'm gonna draw a large, I don't know. It's like a yellow, gold, half circle, sort of tilted about 45 degrees, and I might even put just a little line coming out the center. Maybe like an antenna. Maybe like something else.
Cool.
Oh wait, so it's a 45-degree half circle with the little antenna coming out the
Yeah.
top, the side?
The
Like
middle.
the rounded part, right?
Okay.
No, like like the flat
Like-
part.
The flat
Cool.
part. Okay.
Cool. And do you want the antenna to be coming up or down?
Up, please.
Great.
I think what we find is a tower that has been toppled. And so it's actually upside down. But we can see the beacon coming out of the bottom of it, which is now the top of it. But it's been completely flipped. It's still standing, though, somehow. It's leaning. I don't know if turnaround would say that it looks secure, but it's probably climbable if we wanted to move through and sort of climb up it. And we can just see it at the edge of our view, I'm gonna say. That way I don't have to describe what's inside anything. Is that fine?
Sure.
Do we want our next move? Are we going in it? Do you guys want to go in it? Maybe we should just go in it.
Seems interesting to go inside.
Okay, well then fine. We go inside, and when we go inside, it's very quiet. Very bizarrely quiet. Like if you step outside, there's some sounds, right? Like the gallium sea, the gallium waves crashing, which are pretty loud, to be honest with you.
Cool.
'Cause they're
I never
heavy.
even thought about the sound of it, but that makes so much sense.
It's hard for me to imagine, yeah.
There
I think it
are
almost sounds
other
like
beings.
how do you put this?
It sounds like sheets of metal falling on top of each other every time there's a wave. And when the waves
Yeah.
get big at night,
Yeah.
it can be hard to sleep, I think, a bit here. And it would be more noticeable for some of us maybe than others. I feel like because turnaround doesn't really have ears in the same way that you guys have ears or hear maybe. I don't know. How does Neon hear stuff? What's that like?
I think it's vibrations, just like
Yeah.
with you.
So we both experience vibrations. So we experience them differently, you think, or pretty much the same?
I think the gas particles oscillate for me.
Yeah.
And based on what that oscillation looks like, the picture is formed. So it is different. There's not like an ear canal in the traditional sense. It's vibration en masse.
Right. So for me, it would probably be that like I feel more of the sound in my feet and stuff like that because my hearing I don't think is as good. It's like dull. So like things are kind of muffled.
I think that would be true for me if I didn't have my membrane.
Right.
But since I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's just a sense of like almost a different feeling, I think, for turnaround. It's less of like what she hears and more of like a sense of rhythm within the space that is like absent. There's an eerie sort of quiet that falls over us as we climb in. And when we look around the tower, it really is everything has been turned upside down. Like there's just remnants of what seems to be furniture on the floor that is clearly fallen from higher up. And as we climb up the levels, we actually have to like kind of pull ourselves through the tower, like fixing ropes and climb past stairwells. or, teleportation tubes, whatever we have here. I would say, I feel like this place, there's just stairs. I think that's just stairs.
Okay.
I think this is a stone structure that is like obsidian. It's dense and it's sleek, but it's also just feels like wrong. That's how I would describe it.
I have a proposal.
Yeah.
I noticed we missed a camp scene because I haven't been keeping the counter going.
Oh, whoops.
Forgot about it.
Yeah, totally fine.
So is this where we do camp?
Well, I was thinking, what if we do camp here? And this could even be like where we come to a conclusion of the story. Maybe we camp here and then get the last piece of our puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel about that?
Yeah, I feel good. I feel pretty close based on all the clues we've amassed at this point
Yeah.
as to where I kind of feel like the story could go.
Okay,
Great.
cool, exciting.
Cool.
Let's do a camp scene.
These are sort of communal. So the three questions are: where do you set up camp? Here, right, in this uncomfortable sort of feeling space.
Slanted.
Yeah. And yet it feels like the correct place to be to find that answer.
Yeah.
Which trait during this leg of the journey was most interesting to each character? Ooh. I mean, that blueberry is stuck with Neon. How strange to find it here. Said it all.
Cassius is thinking about all those destroyed homes that we found back there. Just something that doesn't sit right about it. Doesn't feel like they were destroyed in war or in an explosion, but almost methodically. Each one run through with a single chain. Perhaps ritualistic. Perhaps it's just unlike the destruction he's seen anywhere else. Sticking with him.
Cool.
I think that turnaround is thinking about the clothing. I think she's still trying to place where she's seen it before, if she's seen it before. When was it? Was it recently? Was it a long time ago? How old was she? Who was wearing it? She's just trying to remember like anything she can about that memory. She's trying to remember what time of day it was, what she was wearing, what it smelled like around her.
Maybe she'll dream
see
about
if she
it.
can access it. Maybe she'll dream about it.
So I think there's one more question, which is what does each character do during their rest? And then we'll do the camp scene. I think I know what Neon's resting looks like, but this time it feels more probing. It feels like a trying to find the edges of this space and understand what happened here. The breathing out, the particles move farther. The breathing in, they're swept back with an inquisitiveness.
Cool.
What do you do, Cassius?
Cassius is going to try to hook back into the beacon, the device that is sending out the beacon, and try to figure out. Usually, these beacons have more information, but sometimes if they're damaged or if the distance is long, you lose the detailed information and just get the distress signal. So he's going to try to recover the full transmission, if possible.
I think that turnaround is going to try to sleep. I say try to sleep because I don't think she can sleep, but she's going to try to sleep.
Cool.
For the camp scene,
Yeah.
we have a table we could roll on, but I think we could also choose, if we feel so inspired, which one we find most interesting. I'll read out our options. A good meal, a resurfaced memory,
Whoa.
a moment of frustration, a deeper understanding, a strange sight, or an emergency?
So my thought going into this was like, oh, I want us to get an emergency. What an exciting conclusion. But a resurfaced memory sure does, tickle the right spot. Seems like it speaks to our story. So that could be a good option too.
I like both of those options, honestly. I was looking at emergency and I was like, it would be nice to get an emergency and see what that's about.
Well, let's
But-
do an emergency.
Let's get an emergency.
A resurfaced memory makes sense as where we're going, but I'm like, let's not go where we expect to go. 'Cause that's
Now,
when we
emergency
make the most
has.
interesting choices.
There's
Yeah.
another table for us in emergency land.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, so
hit
we
my
either
mic.
can choose or we can roll here.
Ooh, let's roll.
Okay, let's roll.
All right, Amanda, you want to do us the honor?
Your
Sure.
real dice.
With your real
It's
dice
a pretty
My
good thing
real
you got
dice
real
tower.
dice.
I got 5.
and environmental danger.
Oh,
Okay.
In my
okay,
mind,
that makes sense too.
maybe what looked to us like sabotage is a consequence of this unusual space.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. So you think like the tower or the chains or all of it?
I think maybe the chains are what happens when the gallium washes ashore and solidifies. It forms these chains that make a tight grip around whatever it's formed around. Something about the way that maybe it's seismic, forms these interlocking
There
circles.
was like a crazy storm or something from the volcanic activity, perhaps, that we've been seeing and getting readings of. Something happened in the waves, the gallium went like tidal.
I
And
think
just
we
turned
look
into chains.
Yeah, I think we look back where we came, and that sort of flotilla of structure that we walked across. Now there's a great gallium chain that has reached across it as a wave from the sea and hardened and is tugging it away.
Right.
And that's our path back to our ship.
Ooh.
So we can see that that's going back. And then also, how close are we right now to the sea? Because I did say when we came into the tower that the waves went silent, which would imply that we've been hearing them.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
also
that
means that now
was
that we're in the tower, we can't hear them if they're getting more intense, right?
yeah, maybe
Do we think
yeah,
all these
low tide.
homes were soundproofed?
Yeah, because of the building materials that were available. And so they just didn't have time.
Even their clothes, if their clothes are foam, are their clothes foam because it's sound absorbent? So it helps to muffle the sounds
So
of
they
the
didn't
planet.
know.
So you don't know when it's coming.
Yeah,
And because it's not we've already established this idea of like colonizers. There are colonizers that colonize and things are recorded and it's in your system. And then there are stories of people that just decide they're going to find a new place and colonize, but they don't have status to do that. They just find a planet and go for
yeah.
it.
I think we find a little insignia and we recognize it as part of the hull of a spaceship. It's, it's Bridge 3, something like that, a ship that's famously gone missing for years, but it turns out they went pirate settler, right?
Hmm.
And now
Wait,
we
and is
found,
that on the tower that we're on?
yeah, I think we found this.
What if
this
the
husk.
tower isn't actually a tower?
It's the ship. Yeah.
But it's
And it's just been like frozen
tilted.
over with the solidifying gallium. So it's become thicker and naturalized. But in truth, this is the ship and it's from whence the distress signal is coming. Who puts the last
So
piece of the puzzle together and shares it with the three of us?
I feel like
As-
Neon does.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think in the last big deep breath out.
Unless Anthony, do you have something you wanted to add as Cassius?
I was thinking
I'll let
tapping
you guys
into
both
the
take it.
yeah, maybe combined. I was thinking as Cassius is tapping into the computer that's sending out the signal, he like taps in and it's exactly the same system as back on Bridge 27. His like login credentials work, and he like suddenly gets in and he goes, "Guys, I think we're home." And at the same time,
Neon.
what does Neon find?
What does Neon have? I also might have something to contribute too. Wow. What if we all discover at the same time?
Yeah, I think Neon's about to share like the material discovery they made, that this inside is not gallium. But before that happens, Neon senses something more urgent, which is that low tide that we didn't realize was part of what had enabled us to come here is not low tide anymore, has surged up on this island. And what does Turnaround do?
I think Turnaround remembers that the clothing was a specific material because Turnaround's parental unit back home
Mhm.
basically told her when she was younger that that was a specific type of material that was worn on planets that had like basically noise pollution, extreme noise pollution. And so while the pattern actually wasn't familiar, she remembers the material and she realizes that they've been hearing the waves and she realizes how quiet it is in this ship,
Yeah.
which she also like and is now like, whoa, wait a minute. And when you realize that the tide's gone back out, she's just like, we have to get out of here right now.
We are asked 4 questions that would be any emergency conclusion, but feel epilogial to me. What is the trip back to your ship like?
I think treacherous, and we only barely make it. Um, the tides are coming up fast, and the gallium tides don't work the way you would expect. They're much more chaotic as the balance of the very heavy sea starts to become unsettled. The momentum that a single wave can have can be absolutely alarming and go several kilometers inland. So it is completely chaotic as we start to run on foot back towards the bridge. I'm imagining one moment where we're just about to cross the bridge and one of these massive waves comes up, and as Cassius has been fearing all this time, he is hit with a wave of the gallium and knocked flat, breath out, crack in his visor as the gallium wave hits him hard. And the two of you watch as it sort of slides off him. It crystallizes into its chain-like structures wrapped around his neck and his torso, and with its weight begins to pull him off the bridge.
I think. Go ahead.
We run to grab Cassius and get him up on his feet.
You have the oddly intimate sensation of something that feels like more than a hug. And when you come to again, I think you're within the membrane.
My visor's cracked. I need protection.
Yeah. And I think Turnaround grabs your hand and like basically disoriented, slightly out of it from being just knocked down like that. Neon and and Turnaround basically just like are like pulling you along with them.
Yeah, your head within my torso. I think your hand and maybe a limb being pulled by Turnaround. We make it back to the ship just as the gallium starts its jagged movement across the shoreline, and then that familiar hum of the engine comes alive. How does each character feel about leaving the planet?
Hell yeah, I want to get off this planet. It's about to get crazy. I think in this moment, turnaround is so ready to turn around and get the hell out of here. It's a tragic story that is why we don't self-colonize. It's it's awful what has happened here because people were not properly uh, educated to do this.
Yeah, and they caused a lot of destruction while they were here.
The planet has literally been ruined in some areas because of this, and it's just like it's horrific, I think, to turn around what these people that came here chose to do.
I think for I think for Neon, there's an element of empathy and loss as well. Neon has this grieving of sorts for people misguidedly trying to find a home where there wasn't to be one. So I think there's a sense of sadness of leaving this place and knowing that it is a grave of sorts.
As Cassius stares at the window, manually piloting now, as we escape the layers of debris. He says, maybe to no one in particular, maybe one of you if you're nearby, I always wanted to be a homesteader. Always wanted to go back to the way things used to be. Funny how you can have a whole galaxy full of planets and nowhere like home. He looks down at the like shimmering seas now, sort of like encroaching up on the land. There's nowhere like home. Gotta remember that.
One can't forget. We're asked what happens while off planet. Well, I do think we make a quite moving recording of a piece of music inspired by our trip to this planet, and it's quite emotive. You know, there's a lot of feelings that we've all had about this experience, but I don't think there's lyrics. I think it's a suite of composition, and it feels odd and off kilter and interesting in the same way the planet did. Maybe it's got an odd time signature, you know, the whole thing's in, 913 or something. I don't think.
Maybe in the middle of the song, there's just silence.
Yeah, there's a passage that's just silent. And it was recorded live, I think. So that's us reaching a point where we had to pause and just feel.
Stand there together.
And the very end of the song is the recording from the from Bridge 3 that was recovered. The original recording that went with the distress signal, and in the background you can hear the the crashing of the waves, sort of cymbal like, and a warbly voice. Maybe it's just a piece of it, but the warbly voice sort of in the recording. We didn't know. We thought we knew the planet, but it has secrets. Things we never understood. And there's a thunderous clash. And the recording stops.
Perfect. Officially, there is a sort of denouement with questions based on the aces we found, but I think we've pretty much answered all of them looking at them. So
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of our story. Thank you to everyone who joined us today. Thank you to Anthony. Thank you to Amanda. As always, the best people to play with. What a lucky man I am to be here with you.
So fun.
So fun. This is a really good one. This was like, you could really do No, I'm not gonna say it.
Well, I mean, officially, we're playing a one-shot variant of this.
That's
so
true.
you
Because you
could.
could really do a campaign with it. Because especially when they're like, you can go back across the places and this idea of like moving through terrain. And then when you revisit it, like seeing something else there, or experiencing something else that also now is going to more, not just fully flesh out the entire world, but it's also then fully fleshing out like even one corner of it. So your world building, it's cool because you're world building on a scale that is zoomed out, and then the more you play, the more you zoom in. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Which is I think the best way to world build, first of all. Broad strokes, and then you work in, and then eventually it's like the little cracks, the little seams in the universe. But we do build a lot of stuff that'll be like, here's an idea, now fill it, and then here's a thing, now fill it, as opposed to it being like, here's a thing, and then like throw stuff up on a board. And then when you look at it again, you're like, whoa, that's like detailed and rich.
Yeah.
From a collection of symbols, which is something very I don't know, feels very organic the way that you world build in it. So I feel like it would be really cool because then the world you start out with at the beginning by the end is going to be so like it's still the same, but it's also different. It's like Neon. It's like it's experienced all this other stuff now, and now it's like a whole story of a place as opposed to just being the idea of a place.
I think it's
Yeah.
cool how well the symbols and the cards work. I was like, when I first saw like a cross or a rectangle, I was like,
I was like, well, how much will
much
that
is that?
influence the story?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But it was really good. It was really cool.
And then it was just like, even just from you being like, well, I don't know, the line this way is longer and this one shorter. I was like, that makes me think of an eye. It's like,
That gives me something.
that gives me something. But that's the thing. It's like just the way that you decide to draw a symbol. Even if you were just like, I'm just gonna draw a circle. Like if we were in person and I just said, whatever, I'll just draw a circle. How much do you want to bet that one of us would take that and be like, oh my God, the way that this was drawn
Yeah.
makes me think of.
Well, there's a couple screenshots on the itch page where you can see just a couple things that people have done on their cards, and
Oh
it's,
yeah.
you can see personality right through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have a game command?
I didn't set one up because that's not my job.
We don't have one, no.
Oh, okay. What's the itch.io? I can put it in the chat for everyone.
Blinking Birch Games.
Blinking
It's also
birch game.
in the description if you can find the description.
Oh, in the video?
Yeah.
The video description? I know where that is, but
And that's true if you are on YouTube or on Twitch, folks.
oh, I don't
Or
know
at
where
least
it
it's true on
is.
YouTube. I actually have no idea where a Twitch
have
description
no
is now
idea
that I've
where
said
it
that.
I don't know either.
I might just be full of lies and
But
deceit. But on
that
YouTube, it's there. So if you're joining us on YouTube
is-
later, please feel free to check out Sam's work through Blinking Birch Games. Sam's game, The World We Left Behind, is available through Indie Press Revolution or Knave of Cups, or my darling Heart of the Deernicorn if you are in the States. It's available through Ratty and Cantati in Canada, and it is available through The
Oh, I put
Lost
the
Bay
link the wrong way because it's
in the UK or EU.
Let's go at the end. Whoops. That's cool.
So
Great
Yeah, I
game.
definitely need to check out more of Sam's games. This is great. So wait, we played the other one.
we played one of Sam's other games. Yeah, we played Death of the Author, which is a solo game. That we played not solo. Sorry, it's a 1 to 2 player game. I thought we had hacked it more than we had.
Yeah,
And
it's 1 to 2.
Sam's perhaps most well-known game is Anamnesis, which is a game that plays with the idea of reflection, self-discovery, identity. It's about memory loss. So played with tarot cards, really cool game.
We haven't played that one.
We have not played that
We
one.
should play
That's right.
that one. That sounds. I mean, it's a solo, but
Sounds
But I
familiar.
mean, we can always writer's room it if we really wanted to.
we could always just take turns.
That's what I'm
Passive.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, these are the symbols. Oh, this is really cool. You know, it's just really cool at the end. It's like you have this really custom set of cards that you could still play
Yeah, and
cards
the book
with.
actually has suggestions how you might use that in the future, which I think is really cool. You could use it
That's
to
cool.
play in this setting. You could use it to as an oracle deck, like some games have tarot cards, and you look at the card and it inspires what happens. Well, now you have your own
You have your own
oracle
oracle deck.
deck.
You could call up cards and then see what that resembles for you in that based on your inquiries.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that is cool. You could make an oracle deck with it. I feel
Yeah.
like it's also just cool if it's like, hey, we want to play some cards.
Right. You're not marking up the
And it's
back,
like,
so
yeah, I have cards. And then your people are like, what did you do? And you're like, I played an RPG with them. So now they look like this.
yeah.
This is an alien world, by the way, with gallium seas. That's what we're playing with right now. I want you guys to respect the
What, you
cards.
don't know what blue line means? Get with it.
Get
Come
with it.
on.
You don't know about the chains through the houses?
Never break the chain.
The change to the house
That
was a
would
real
be-
tricky moment.
That would have to be the song that they would choose for the trailer in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. I can
As
see it.
they're running across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chain grabs Cassius. That was excellent, guys. Thank you,
That was
everyone,
so
for
good.
joining us. Kurt, do you have things that you want people to know about?
Sure, yeah. Folks, you can, if you are interested in actual plays of games, very cool VTuber is currently playing through one of my games. Not like this moment, but the campaign is active. It is happening. You can find this VTuber on Twitch. I'm just gonna link the name because then I don't have to try to tell someone how to spell it. So I will do that if you are interested in seeing a cozy sort of journaling stream. You can watch, I believe it's Hime Utsugi at twitch.tv/Hime Utsugi. I will link their page for
Sounds
anyone
cool.
who likes that.
I
That's it for me. I
like
think I don't
it.
have my own thing. I just have someone else did my thing.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, I'm into it.
What
Amanda,
about
do you
you?
have anything to plug?
Me?
You?
I'm gonna put up my Doctor Who season 2 review right after the stream. So stay tuned to hear my thoughts on Doctor Who season 2,
Ooh.
aka Doctor Who series 15. Why did we start calling it season 1? I don't know. To get people to watch it, I guess. But so whatever you prefer to call it, season 2 or series 15, depending on how long you've been watching, maybe. That is what I'm going to be sharing. And then I will have more content up. Yes. What is it, you ask? A good question. You'll have to subscribe to find out at youtube.com/vampex13. Well, actually, /at vampex13, because that's what we do on YouTube. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'll be back on live Wednesday.
Woo!
We'll be talking comics. I don't know if it's going to be 6:30 or 9:30. If I am just with Duck, it'll be 6:30. If Duck and I are with Casually Comics, it'll be 9:30. Just stay tuned. I'll update you because I gotta check in with Sasha and see. And actually, Sasha messaged me, but I just haven't been checking. So I will figure that out. That's it.
Cheeky.
Check the Patreon. Go to the Discord. Deadpool and Wolverine movie watch along soon. That is all.
Woo!
I guess I'll say the next time we're live, folks, which might be next Monday, but we haven't talked about it yet. We
Yeah.
are going to be playing Quantum Nobodies, which is a time loop game about anomalous individuals trying to solve a quantum mystery and dying a
What?
lot.
Yay!
Wow.
That sounds so
Yay.
fun.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
That
it
sounds
should be
kind
a
of
good
like what
time.
we turned some of this game into a little bit. A little bit of we liked the mystery this time.
For
was a
sure.
good
I think we'll dig it.
Yeah,
But
sounds
in the
really fun.
interim, Anthony, you got anything to plug?
No, just the fact that we're Twitch affiliates now, and you can subscribe to us if you want to, which is a very exciting. I'm just thrilled.
You can. And if you subscribe, you will help to cover costs like Streamlabs for Anthony, who's paying for Streamlabs. So you should subscribe to support that. And then maybe we'll also use the money to buy other RPGs and then maybe one day we'll make money, which is exciting.
We'll
Whoa.
buy RPGs you've never even heard of. We'll commission new ones just for us.
They've already done that, folks. They
We've
did
already
it for
done
me.
that.
But we did it for free.
For free. Yeah. Now we'll be able to commission RPGs from you, Kurt, for our streams, and maybe pay you one day. Maybe.
Holy
Whoa.
No.
For the time being, I'm gonna suggest that we raid on over to Meadowlark Productions, who are putting on. I think they're playing Monster of the Week, which is a cool
Oh, Monster of the Week. I really
Tabletop
want to play that game. I've heard
game.
good things.
And they are also doing a charity stream raising money for Oklahomans up with LGBTQ identities, which is pretty cool. So I think
Love it.
let's head on over
Cool.
there if you want to
Yeah, great.
check it out. Anything we should say before we go? We're happy.
You guys are great. Thank you.
What do you want people to write, Amanda? We always have a scrum moment. Is it this?
Oh, yeah,
Or is
yeah,
it
yeah.
Raids You'll
What did
enjoy?
we say? Raids you'll enjoy?
Yeah.
Raids. I will see you there, Otto. That sounds awesome. Join us on Wednesday. Raids. We need emotes.
We need emotes.
You can add in your own emotes if you guys want. I would recommend, but I'm not going to put emotes because I don't know what emotes everyone has access to. So what I would encourage you to do is try to put them in between, but you need to add a space. Just letting you know, because otherwise it won't let you type it. Oh, whoops, I just typed it twice. Anyways, copy that, add your own emotes, and we'll see you over there. And goodbye.
And
Goodbye.
goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Probably
Next week, next Monday.
Yep.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye, folks.